Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Winter Tales, a room full of voices, a season full of silence, and stories waiting to be heard. Today, no costumes, no sound effects, no dramatic chair slamming, just stories and the courage to hold the audience with it. I'm a host for today, and I'll be guiding you through this afternoon of quiet tension, rising pressure, and beautiful words. Our stories tonight will be judged by two people who know exactly when a story breathes and when it rushes. So we have our first judge who is a sharp ears and a sharp instincts, Rolter.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm
Hello.
really excited to be here and to listen to your amazing stories that you have provided us. And I would like to express my gratitude to every participant who decided to give it a try here. And it was lovely to see you all here.
Yeah, thank you for that. And moving on to our most awaited judge, our second judge who is a pacing police and an emotional detector, Khyber. Hello, Khyber. Khyber, say hi.
Is Khyber
Okay.
here?
I think Khyber is busy. Busy somewhere. Let me introduce you to the most important person. If anything breaks, he fixes it. If anything bends, he straightened it. The one who keeps entire winter storm from becoming chaos. Our event manager, Mr. Snape. Snape, hi.
Hello everyone, welcome to this event. This time I'm in my office, so I will not be able to join with us in full time. So these guys will take care of the whole event. Mr.
Hmm.
Lalulangu, Rolter, and Khyber. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the event. I'll be there. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone.
Okay, Snape, hi. So, a few things to keep in mind. Uh, Judges will score you on your opening hook, clarity of narration, pacing, and emotional impact. Not on your volume, not on your accents, and not definitely not on sufferings. And one point for audience: feel free to react in the chat. Emojis are encouraged, and typing goosebumps is optional but respected. Moving on to our first round. In this round, this round is where stories stop warming up and start biting. In this round, each storyteller will have 5 minutes, and there will be no warnings mid story. Only a gentle reminder when time's up. You will have. Let's call upon the stage our first participant. We have Sweet Tooth. Hello, Sweet Tooth. Are you ready with the story?
Oh well, I'm not. I'm sorry. My apologies, but give me 5 minutes, please. I just finished my.
Okay, it's okay. Okay. Let me call upon the stage our next candidate, Mystic.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Okay. So, very good afternoon to all of you. Uh, and I'm going to start narrating, and I want
Hmm.
you to be in it. So, I just want to ask all of you one question. So, do you guys believe in the power of love?
Yes, definitely. I do.
Yes.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. So even if somebody has little bit doubts regarding the power of love after this story, you all will start believing in the extraordinary power of love. Chef Mawansa. Okay. It was
Mm-hmm.
a glorious, yes, it was a glorious and colorful autumn. We had just left the coffee shop. When we walked by, she giggled and pulled me inside, saying, "Come on, let us be some basic white girls and get some pumpkin spice." I did not like coffee and I never did. But when she handed me my cup and looked into my eyes while I tried it, it was the best thing I have ever tasted. My hand still tingled where she grabbed it. As we walked through the park with our drinks, a little drizzle began to fall. She pulled out an umbrella from her bag. I pulled up my hood and hunched my shoulders. "Do not be silly," she giggled, pulling me under the umbrella with her. I could not help but laugh because her laugh was infectious. As the sun started to shine again, she pulled me down to sit on a bench. She beamed down at me, and I could only gaze adoringly. "So, Jeff," she began, I knew this kind of voice, this tone. It was dangerous. "Who do you like?" she whispered, and I looked away. I wanted to say, you 1,000 times, you are the only one I ever think about. You are gorgeous and sweet and funny and. Ha! Instead, I shrugged my shoulders and looked down at my cup. She looked at me with a cautious smile. "If I tell you mine, will you tell me yours?" "Okay," I said. "The person I like is you." I dropped my drink and I could not believe that she was mine. I have been waiting to tell her for a while, though I knew she was not interested in me, but but I can't believe it. She looks at me in surprise. I take a deep breath. I put my hand up instinctively. "Anna, Anna," my voice catches in my throat as she removes my hand from her mouth and leans in a tiny bit closer to me. "What was it? What is it?" she asked, looking concerned. I cannot seem to form the words, so I tell her how I feel the only way I can. Before I can lose my courage, I lean forward, pressing my lips to her. After her momentary shock fades, she kisses me back. As her lips moves against mine, it is like there is fire in my veins, and I think I cannot believe this is happening. We finally break apart when we both are completely breathless. She tilts her head so our foreheads are touching. "Wow," she whispers. I nod in reply. So does this mean? She stammers. This is the first time I have ever seen Anna at a loss for words. I feel a bit proud of myself. Finally getting courage, I grab her hands, pulling her to her feet. "Anna," I say, "Anna, will you be my girlfriend?" She squeals, jumping up and down in that way I have always thought was simply adorable, but was never able to tell her. So I tell her now, "You are adorable." I never seen Anna blush before, and when she does, she pulls me into a hug, and I rest my shoulder on her head. "So is that a yes?" I whisper against her skin. She giggles, grabbing my hands and spinning me around. "Of course, that is a yes, silly." She laughs. "Good," I say, "because now I can do this again." I press my lips to her, and it is like everything in the world fades away. Over and over, I keep thinking, "I cannot believe you are mine." I'm still thinking, "I cannot believe you are mine." The next year, when we move in together, I think, "I cannot believe you are mine." As she walked down the aisle on our wedding day, but the biggest "I cannot believe you're mine" is when she holds her daughter for the very first time. I did not think it was possible to love someone more every day. But Anna proved that wrong. Jeff, what do you think? What do you want to name her? She asked. Both girls looking up at me with big, beautiful eyes. Autumn, I say, and she beams in agreement. Autumn, she whispers and kisses her little head, and that is nor the first nor the last of many, many. I cannot believe you're mine. I cannot believe you're mine. So, this story is for all of those who believe in the quite extraordinary power of love and who believe that love is for all of those who dare to feel and who choose each other every single day. So, this was a beautiful, happy ending of Anna and Jeff, and yours can also be a happy ending. Thank you so much.
Guys, you can use your soundboard.
Wow, wow, what a narration, Mystic. You told the story like you believed in it, and that belief reached all of us. Wow, really nice.
It was a good read.
Yeah, okay.
Indeed, it
So,
is.
if I were to nitpick one thing, that would be the pauses. I think the narration close to the punctuations was inaccurate, but the passion, the pace, the feeling of the story, the twists is something that we just can't ignore. And that was on the point. It was just pinpoint great. And that is what I expected from you, Mystic. I won't lie. It was a great, great narration. And I'm too much indulged in the story to say anything about this. Maybe Kyber has something to say.
Mm.
Definitely, it was good. The flow was a bit more like a very poetic, so that aspect I liked a lot. Um, Other than that, like the punctuations point, I was gonna say that, but yeah, everything else was really good. I liked the way you read. The structure was good, the flow was pretty, and yeah, I liked it.
Yes, and I think this is a good checkpoint. Mystic, do you have to say something?
No, I'm too nervous to say anything. You can just proceed further.
Okay,
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, let me call upon the stage our next reader. Where's Amy? Yeah, Amy's here.
Hi guys, Emmy this side. So today I want you to take you all on the last ride of a girl named Isha, a story about letting go. So let's dive into the story. The last ride. People pass each other every day on platforms, on staircases, in moving crowds, even without knowing how much a single glance can mean to someone. The story is of one such glance and of a girl who slowly learned how to let go. She has stopped caring about the thing she once held close. Her name is Isha. It was a warm afternoon at the Lajpat Nagar metro station. The usual noise filled the air. Announcements echoing, the clatter of shoes, voice blending with the hum of the city. People moving like waves, pushing and pulling each other forward. And in the middle of it all, Isha moved too. Her heart racing, her earbuds in, trying to keep up with the time she always seems to lose. Just one more class, last one. Then no more metro, no more rush, no more him, she thought, tugging at the strand of hair. But maybe today, just once more. She stepped towards the accelerator, but then froze. Across the station, walking in the opposite direction, was Arjun, earphones around his neck, scrolling on his phone, completely ordinary, but to her, unforgettable. Their eyes met, and in that instant, the station felt smaller, quieter, as if the rest of the world has paused. Arjun gave a small, polite smile, the kind that was unaware it had ever mattered to someone. He started walking towards her, not with excitement, just recognition. Hey, hi, he said lightly. Isha pulled out her earbuds, surprised. She smiled, maybe a little too brightly. Oh, hey, didn't expect to see you here today. Yes, same. Thought your classes were over. They were until today. Teacher suddenly remember we exist. She laughed softly, trying to keep her voice steady. Extra class, exams coming. Arjun shrugged with a half smile. Right, same story. Mine go on for another week. They walked side by side, the crowd moving past them like waves, yet the world around them felt distant. Just two people, two parallel lives, intersecting for a moment that meant everything to one of them. So, syllabus done? Isha asked. Arjun nodded casually. Mostly, just need to revise a few things. You? Isha tried to sound light. Trying to complete it, we'll see. He laughed softly and she smiled. Then there was a pause, the kind that aches when you want to say everything but words fail. Finally, she whispered almost to herself, can I ask you something? Hmm? Her voice trembled, yet she spoke, needing him to remember, needing him to care. What's my name? Arjun froze, his brows knit. Wait, what? He smiled awkwardly. You just caught me off guard. Give me a second. It's, hmm, it, but it didn't come. He laughed, but it sounded hollow. He didn't know. He had never really remembered. Isha's smile fluttered, her eyes stung. Never mind, she said softly. She stepped onto the accelerator, and the crowd slowly swallowed her. Arjun stood frozen, scratching the back of his neck, unsure what had just happened. To him, it was a fleeting moment. To her, it was everything. The end of a story she had been living alone. He forgot. Maybe he never knew. And maybe that's all it ever was. One side of a story that only she had been living, she thought, letting the bitter ache settle inside her. As she descended, she looked up once. Arjun was already turning away, disappearing into the noise of the station, fading like a memory she could no longer hold. She whispered almost inaudibly, goodbye, Arjun. And in that moment, everything she had once held on to, every smile, every hope, every tiny memory, slipped quietly out of her hands, not with anger, not with tears, but with a soft, final acceptance. Some stories, she realized, exist only in the heart of the one who remembers them, and some connections simply fade, leaving only the echo of what could have been. The train roared below, the sound drowned her voice, just like the world had drowned her hopes. And yet she walked on, carrying a fragile kind of freedom, the freedom of letting go, even when it hurts more than anything else. That's it.
Wow, Amy, good job. Your storytelling had such clarity, it felt effortless to follow from the first word to the last. Really nice.
Thank you.
And let me bring fresh perspective in the room. Judges, please take the floor. Rolta.
Okay, okay. So, Amy, you were great with the punctuations and you did not make any mistake. That was great. Although it could require a bit more diversity in the emotional side of the story. Like, as it was a heartbreak story, it did not really felt like a heartbreak at the end, but it was great nonetheless. Okay. We don't expect everyone to catch on to the feelings. It's very subjective. So you did great on your technical part. It was amazing, right? That is all I have to say. If Kyber has something to say, he can go on.
That was a good read, Amy. Hook was good. Clarity, there was a bit up. There were a bit up and downs. Mostly, it was plain, but still, I would say on the part of clarity, it was good. Pacing, I thought was a bit fast. Could have been slower, but I again, you did good on that end too. Emotion wise, it was again, as Rolter said, emotionally it was a bit off. So that one is done. But structurally, it was really good. So kudos to you on that.
Well, thank you.
Oh, so yeah, judges are thinking, which means we move on before they overthink. Let me invite another participant.
Hello.
Hello, SG.
Hello there, Ashish.
Hi everyone. Am I audible properly?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Should I start now?
Yes.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Today I will be going through a short story named The Bet. It's written by a Russian writer named Anton Chekhov. So let's start. So imagine someone offered you a $10 million right now. What most of you would say? Most of you would say that yes, in a heartbeat. But what if the price was this? You must sit in a single room, completely alone, for 15 years. No internet, no phone, no human voices, just you and the four walls. Would you do it or would you go crazy? So, this is how the story goes. So, long time ago, there was a very rich banker. Uh, he hosted a very big party. At the party, the guests were talking about imprisonment versus death penalty. Some said that being locked away for life is worse than dying. But a young lawyer stood up and said, I disagree. To live even in a small room is better than not living at all. The rich banker got angry and challenged the lawyer. I bet you $10 million that you cannot stay locked in a room alone for even 5 years. The lawyer was brave and young. He said, I will not stay for 5 years. Instead, I will stay for 15 years. The banker listened to him, and it was decided that he would be locked in a small house in the banker's garden. And it was after the announcement. For the first few weeks, there was silence like a heavy blanket. Then, in the first year, the lawyer was restless. First, he played the piano for hours until his fingers hurt. He read light books, love stories, and funny tales. He was trying to forget that he was a prisoner. Through the window, the banker saw him pacing back and forth like a caged tiger. And by the third year, the piano went silent. The lawyer stopped drinking wine. He began to read the classics, the great stories of old kings and heroes. He was looking for company in the pages of books because he had no human friends. By the sixth year, a strange thing happened. The lawyer learned six different languages. He wrote a letter to the banker. I'm writing this in six languages. Show it to experts. If they find no mistakes, fire a gun in the garden. I want to know that my hard work is real. The banker ordered the gun to be fired. The lawyer, sitting in his dark room, heard the loud bang and smiled. He realized that even though he was locked in a room, his mind could travel across the whole world. In the 10th year, he sat perfectly still on his table. He stopped reading science and history. He began to read only the Bible and books about the soul. He spent hours just staring at the wall. People thought he was going crazy, but he was actually finding a deep, quiet peace. In the last 2 years, he became a mad reader again. He read everything he could find: chemistry, medicine, Shakespeare, and philosophy. He was like a man drowning in the ocean, trying to grab every piece of wood he could find. He was no longer the young man from the party. His hair had turned white, his skin was pale, he looked like a man who had seen a ghost. While the lawyer was becoming wise, the banker was becoming poor. He had gambled his money away. The day before the bet ended, the banker sat in his office shaking with fear. If I pay him, the banker whispered, I have nothing. I will be a beggar. Everyone will laugh at me. I must end this. He walked through the dark garden. It was raining. He used a key to open the door to the lawyer's room. He expected the lawyer to scream or fight, but the lawyer didn't move. He was thin, weak, shadow of a man, sleeping deeply. Then the banker saw a piece of paper at the table. It was the lawyer's final message. It said, for 15 years, I have studied the wood. In the books, I have tasted wine. I have hunted deer in the woods. I have climbed the highest mountains, and I have loved beautiful women. I have seen that everything in our world is a lie. Your money, your health, and your beauty will all be eaten by death, just like mice eat a piece of bread. You are proud of your riches, but you're actually poor. I do not want your $10 million. To me, it is stress. To prove this, I will leave my prison 5 hours before the time is up. I will lose the bet and purpose. The banker read the words, felt a sharp pain in his heart. He realized that the prisoner was actually free, and he, the rich man, was the one who was truly locked in a cage of greed. The banker went back to his bed, but he couldn't sleep. The next morning, a guard ran to him, shouting, "He's gone! We saw him climb out the window and run towards the golden garden gate." The banker went to the room. It was empty. Then he picked up the letter, locked it in a safe. He was still rich with money, but the rest of his life he was felt very, very empty. He had won the bet, but he had lost his soul. So the next time you think you need more stuff to be happy, remember the lawyer. He had nothing but a few books and a quiet room, yet he became the richest man in the world. Because the only thing you can truly own is what you put inside your mind. Thank you.
Wow, good job, SG. Your voice carried the story clearly. Good job with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let's gently park the story in our hearts and bring the judges to the mic.
Okay, Ashi, you gave a great performance. There was negligible mistakes, means there was little to no mistakes, and it was a treat to the ears, and could have used a bit more passion according to the story. But I think you have chosen quite a neutral tone of the story as well, so we can't also complain about that. It was great. You carried the message greatly. It is a narrator's job to carry the message, and you did that well. I would like to invite Khyber to speak about this too.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you, Doctor. Um, okay. So yeah, I agree with Rolter. Everything was good. For me, pacing was again a bit like faster, could have been slower, but other than that, structurally it was good. Emotions were there. Hook was a bit off, but again, like you still did a quite good job, and overall, I like the way you did it.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you.
So,
It's my
SD, do
first
you
time
want? Do
writing a
you have to say something?
Yeah, I have to say that thank you to Wright and Rangran. They encouraged me to participate in this, and with the help of them, and I wouldn't have done this before. I haven't done this like this anything before. So
Mhm.
kudos to them for making me participate in this, and thank you guys for inviting me also. And and congratulations, or what? I don't know the word correctly, but yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are honored to
Okay,
have
you're
you as a
welcome.
participant as well.
Exactly.
You did good.
thank.
Okay. Audience, if the stories are letting, please drop a fire emojis in the chat.
So find me a name. Are you ready? You can type.
She's ready.
All right.
Yeah, find me name. Find me a
Hello,
name. Hello, hello,
everyone.
hello.
Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, you are.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I
afternoon.
will bring this story, but first, I want to remind you that sometimes relationships don't break when people fight. They break when people stop talking. And this story will remind us about this, that sometimes healing begins with one honest sentence. The evening train. The evening train was almost empty when Sarah stepped in. She chose the window seat, the kind you take when you want to think, but you're afraid of your own thoughts. Just as the doors were closing, someone rushed in and sat across from her. It was Alex. 3 years, no calls, no messages, just silence. He gave the smallest note. Once they had been inseparable, two people who finished each other's sentences, who believed the world felt safer together. Until one night, A single argument, words sharper than knives, and pride thicker than walls. Now they were strangers sharing air. Sarah looked away. Silence filled the train like fog, not loud, but heavy, pressing against the ribs. From the next seat, a soft voice broke in. Strange how life sits people together, said an elderly woman, her eyes kind, the kind that had already forgiven the world 8,000 times. She smiled gently. You two know each other. Alex gave a small laugh, the kind you use when you're trying not to remember. We used to. Sarah's jaw tightened. A long time ago. The woman leaned back, her gaze drifting to a place far away, somewhere only memory could reach. I once loved someone, she said softly. We fought. We waited too long to say sorry. Now the conversation lives only in my head. Her words landed like stones in water. Sarah finally spoke, her voice steady, but her hands trembling in her lap. You walked away first. Alex replied quietly, almost apologetically. Because you pushed me away. They weren't shouting. No drama, just truth. Raw, simple, heavy. Sarah whispered. I thought if I stayed silent long enough, you would come back. Alex stared at the floor like the answer might be there. I thought if I'd stay away long enough, you would miss me. The old woman sighed, not annoyed, just deeply understanding. Children fight loudly, she said. Adults fight quietly. That is why their wounds last longer. The train began to slow. Before stepping off, the woman turned to them. Say what you need to say, she told them gently. Not for the past, but for the version of you who still hurts. Then she disappeared into the crowd, like a lesson the universe had delivered and quietly taken away. Now there was only the humming train and the truth they had never finished saying. Sarah finally turned to Alex. Her voice wasn't angry anymore, just tired. I wasn't brave enough to say I was wrong. Alex swallowed. His voice shook the way voices do when pride is finally losing its grip. And I wasn't humble enough to say I was hurt. Silence wrapped around them, but this time it felt softer. They look at each other fully now, not as heroes, not as villains, just two flawed people who once loved deeply and didn't know how to hold that love gently. Then Sarah spoke again, slower, deeper, more vulnerable. Alex, I kept pretending I didn't care, but every night I replied to our last conversation. I hated you for leaving, but I hated myself more for letting you go. I was scared you'd see me how much I needed you, and needing someone felt like losing control. Alex closed his eyes for a moment. His voice came out fragile, like a confession carefully unwrapped. Sarah, I left before because I didn't know how to stay without breaking. I thought strength means silence. I thought strength meant silence, distance, surviving alone. But the truth is, every day without you felt like walking through a house that used to be filled with music, and now there's only echoes. I wasn't angry at you. I was angry that loving you made me feel vulnerable, and I didn't know how to be gentle with that. Sarah's eyes softened, not with romance, but with understanding. She spoke again, a little braver now. I kept telling myself I'd moved on. I smiled in photos, I laughed in crowds, but every time the world went quiet, there you were. Not as you left, but as you once were. The version of you who knew my favorite songs and the way I needed silence when I was sad. Alex nodded slowly, his words deep, reflective, honest. And I kept pretending I had peace when really I was just getting better at hiding my ache. I miss your voice, your stubbornness, the way you believe storms always passed. I miss the home we built inside conversations. And the worst part was knowing that one apology, one sentence might have changed everything. But my pride chose silence. There was a long, soft pause, the kind that doesn't hurt anymore. Sarah breathed in gently. I missed you. Alex's voice cracked, the first sign that the walls had finally given up. I miss you too. The train kept moving, and something inside both of them, something tight and stubborn, finally loosened. They didn't promise forever. They didn't pretend forgiveness was easy. They didn't rewrite the past. But they started. Not with fireworks, not with tears, just honesty. When the train reached the final station, they stood up together, not as who they once were, but as people brave enough to speak again. And sometimes that is where the real healing begins. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, find me a name. That was so good.
Thank
Especially
you,
the emotional
everyone.
arc of your story was beautifully balanced. Nothing felt extra. That was so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, instead of me stealing more words, let's hear from our judges. Rolter.
Wha- Bro, how do we give a standing ovation? Oh my god. What the hell, bro?
Thank
That
you.
was super
Slow
professional of
cat
mine. That was
claps.
so professional.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I am not skilled enough to say anything about this. I don't want to ruin this by no, I can't say anything about this. Maybe Kyber can, but I am not skilled enough to say anything about this.
Okay,
Thank
it
you.
was it was really good, very professional.
Thank you.
I think I did like I kind of got lost in the narration that I was like, this is like what's going on. So yeah, it was really good. All I would just one thing I would say, the pace was slow, but the story then required this because it was more of like dramatic play and all. But
Mhm.
but that's all I have to say. Like other than that, I can't say nothing. Like it was really good.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, even I need a moment not to process the story, but to pretend that I understood the deeper meaning. Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, let's move on and call our next participant. Hypo.
I've sent the request. Rang rang, it's you.
Hello, Rang Rang. Are
Hello.
you ready with your story?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
This is a story where the writer shows how misunderstanding everyday language can change perception. The, the eyes have it. It was quite by accident I discovered this incredible invasion of Earth by life forms from another planet. As yet, I haven't done anything about it. I can't think of anything to do. I wrote to the government and they sent back a pamphlet on the repair and maintenance of frame houses. Anyhow, the whole thing is known. I'm not the first to discover it. Maybe it's even under control. I was sitting in my easy chair, idly turning the pages of a paperbacked book someone had left on the bus, when I came across the reference that first put me on the trail. For a moment, I didn't respond. It took me some time for the full import to sink in. I had comprehended, it seemed odd I hadn't noticed it right away. The reference was clearly to a non-human species of incredible properties, not indigenous to Earth, a species I had hastened to point out. Customarily masquerading as ordinary human beings, their disguise, however, became transparent in the face of the following observations by the author. It was at once obvious the author knew everything and was taking it in his stride. The line, and I tremble remembering it even now, read, his eyes slowly roved about the room. Vague chills assailed me. I tried to picture the eyes. Did they roll like dimes? The passage indicated not. They seemed to move through the air, not over the surface. Rather rapidly, apparently. No one in the story was surprised. That's what tipped me off. No sign of amusement at such an outrageous thing. Later, the matter was amplified. His eyes moved from person to person. There it was, in a nutshell. The eyes had clearly come apart from the rest of him and were on their own. My heart pounded and my breath choked in my windpipe. I had stumbled on accidental mention of a totally unfamiliar race, obviously non-terrestrial, yet to the characters in the book it was perfectly natural, which suggested they belonged to the same species. And the author? A slow suspicion burned in my mind. The author was taking it rather too easily in his stride. Evidently, he felt this was quite a usual thing. He made absolutely no attempt to conceal this knowledge. The story continued. Presently his eyes fastened on Julia. Julia, being a lady, had at least the breeding to feel indignant. She is described as blushing and knitting her brows angrily. At this I sighed with relief. They weren't all non-terrestrials. The narrative continues. Slowly, calmly, his eyes examined every inch of her. Great Scott! But here the girl turned and stormed off and the matter ended. I lay back in my chair, gasping with horror. My family regarded me in wonder. "What's wrong, dear?" my wife asked. I couldn't tell her. Knowledge like this was too much for an ordinary, run-of-the-mill person. I had to keep it to myself. "Nothing," I gasped, leaped up, snatched the book, and hurried out of the room. In the garage, I continued reading. There was more. Trembling, I read the next revealing passage. He put his arm up around Julia. Presently, she asked him if he could remove his arm. He immediately did so, with a smile. It's not said what was done with the arm after the fellow had removed it. Maybe it was left standing upright in the corner. Maybe it was thrown away. I don't care. In any case, the full meaning was there, staring me right in the face. Here was a race of creatures capable of removing portions of their anatomy at will, eyes, arms, maybe more, without batting an eyelash. My knowledge of biology came in handy at this point. Obviously, they were simple beings, unicellular, some sort of primitive single-cell things, beings no more developed than starfish. Starfish can do the same, you know. I read on, and came to this incredible revelation, tossed off coolly by the author without the faintest tremor. Outside the movie theater we split up. Part of us went inside, part over to the cafe for dinner. Binary fission, obviously, splitting in half and forming two entities. Probably each lower half went to the cafe, it being farther, and the upper half to the movies. I read on, hands shaking. I had really stumbled onto something here. My mind reeled as I made out this passage. I'm afraid there's no doubt about it. Poor Bebney has lost his head again, which was followed by, and Bob, he has utterly no guts. Yet Bebney got around as well, and the next person, however, was just as strange. He was soon described as totally lacking in brains. There was no doubt of the thing in the passage. Julia, whom I had thought to be the one normal person, reveals herself as also being an alien life form similar to the rest. Quite deliberately, Julia had given her heart to the young man. It didn't relate what the final disposition of the organ was, but I didn't really care. It was evident Julia had gone right on living in her usual manner, like all the others in the book. without heart, with arm, eyes, brain, viscera, dividing up in two when the occasion demanded, without a qualm. Thereupon she gave him her hand. I sickened. The rascal now had her hand as well as her heart. I shudder to think what he has done with binary Huh. I sickened. The rascal now had her hand as well as her heart. I shuddered to think what he has done with them by this time. He took her arm. Not content to wait, he had to start dismantling her on his own. Flushing crimson, I slammed the book shut and leaped to my feet, but not in time to escape one last reference to those carefree bits of anatomy whose travels had originally thrown me on the track. Her eyes followed him all the way down the road and across the meadow. I rushed from the garage and back inside the warm house, as if the accursed things were following me. My wife and children were playing Monopoly in the kitchen. I joined them and played with frantic fervor, broke feverish, teeth chattering. I had had enough of the thing. I want to hear no more about it. Let them come on, let them invade Earth. I don't want to get mixed up in it. I have absolutely no stomach for it. Then,
Good job, Rang Rang. Even even the pauses that you took felt very intentional, not just empty. That's very mature storytelling.
you,
Yeah. And I think this is where I gracefully step back and let the judges do what they do best. Yes.
Okay, okay, Rang Rang, that was amazing, and it was really straightforward. The entire story could have used a bit more passion, but it's all right as you did not really make any mistake. You had one long pause in the story, which was quite literally my fault. Right, I changed the page at the last moment, but after all, it was great. You did great. Nothing more to say about this. Maybe Kyber has.
So it was good. Passion wise, I agree with Rolter. Could have been a bit more, but again, it was a good read. I enjoyed it. Other than like storytelling, just one thing that I felt a bit off. That was your mic was a bit unclear to me, so I had to put like more focus. But again, that doesn't affect your storytelling. Storytelling wise, it was good. So yeah, I liked it.
Anuj.
All right. Let's gently place the story. And just like that, we turn the pages to our next storyteller. Haiba, hello, right?
Hello.
Are you, Are you ready with the story?
Yep, I'm. So, hello
Okay.
everyone. I have grown up watching Panchtantra stories. So, here I
Mhm.
am with one of Panchtantra story, The Singing Donkey. Okay. Once upon a time in a village, there lived a washerman and his extremely weak donkey. The donkey would carry the washerman's heavy bags of laundry to the river bank for washing and back during the day. The donkey was not happy with the food that provided to him by the washerman. So at night, when he was left free, he would go to graze in the nearby field. However, he wouldn't go graze in the nearby field. Instead, he slyly went to the neighboring farm and devoured the different vegetable. Before the sun rose, he would return to the washerman's house. On one of his daily round on the nearby farm, the donkey met a jackal, and they became really close friends who would meet every night. On one particular night, the jackal came to the donkey and said, "Friend, I have some great news to you. I have found a farm where the farmers are growing juicy, ripe cucumbers. I'm confident I'll find some food for myself over there.
Let's go there and fill our bellies. Every night they went to the farm where the donkey ate the cucumbers while the jackal kept guard in the case they got caught. This way, the donkey put on weight and became healthy after eating the cucumbers. One night, the donkey ate way too much cucumber and was very happy. He decided to sing a song to express his happiness. He told the jackal, "The moon is beautiful tonight. I'm overwhelmed with the happiness and feel like singing a song. Which song should I sing?" Hearing this, the jackal got worried. He said, "Friend, do not act foolish. We are here to steal the cucumbers, not to get caught. We have to be quiet as possible. Even though you think have a beautiful voice, you don't. So please, let's just eat the cucumbers quietly and leave quickly. If we get caught, the farmers around will beat us black and blue with their sticks." Hearing this, the donkey scolded him. "Since you are a wild animal, you can never appreciate a beautiful voice. You're just jealous of my melodious voice. Here, let me show you how well I can sing. How well I can sing." When when the jackal understood that the donkey would definitely start singing, he told him, "Please wait till I exit the farm and keep an eye on the farmer, then you can start singing." The donkey then looked up to the moon and started singing. Dhee choo, dhee choo, dhee choo. He was mighty pleased with himself and continued even louder. It was a full night. It was a full moonlight where things could seen very clearly. Hearing the loud bearing, the farmers came rushing out with their stakes to find the source of loud, disturbing noise. They were upset to see the donkey on the farm. The annoyed farmer can run and chase the donkey and beat him really bad with their stick. The donkey fell on the ground because of his injuries, and the farmer hung a wooden mortar around his neck. Then they released him. When he saw the donkey fully injured, limping out of the farm, the jackal ran toward him and laughed at his face. He sarcastically said, "Wow, friend, that was a brilliant performance. Even the farmer appreciated your melodious voice and talent and decided to reward you with this necklace. Wow." I'm done. That was it.
Hey, good job, right?
Thank you.
You didn't rush the story, you trusted it, and that confidence really showed.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
think the best part of the story was Dechu Dechu. 3 times Dechu. I really like that. And before I overthink that, this feels like the perfect moment to bring our judges. Khyber.
Okay, really good storytelling. The dramatic, like indentation of Nechu Nechu, like the donkey sound, definitely adds a really good character. I enjoyed it. It was structurally good, emotionally well, and yeah, overall I liked it.
Yeah, and I personally won't even come to the technical part of the storytelling. The best thing is that you gave this story quite indifferent personality. The way you described the story felt very distinguished and innocent, and that is why I personally loved this narration and the story itself as well. It was actually funny, and the danger was again my best part, my favorite part. Great ride.
Thank you so much, everyone. And this was my very first time attending this kind of event. So I just want to say that you guys are really doing great job. All the best for your upcoming events and everything. And thank you so much for having me here.
Oh,
Appreciate that.
definitely appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, everyone, take a breath, stretch your imagination because the next story is loading. And who is the next participant?
Sweet tooth.
Sweet Tat. Hello, Sweet Tat.
Oh,
Are you
yeah,
ready with the
hello.
story? Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
I am.
Yeah, you
Thank you.
you may start.
Okay. In a faraway country bordered by slow rivers and obedient hills, there lived a countess with 3 children. The people spoke her name with respect, sometimes with envy. They said she was tireless, capable, a woman who never let emotion interfere with duty. And they were not wrong. The house she ruled over was magnificent, stone staircase worn smooth by history, tall windows that caught the light of every season, corridors so long that footsteps often arrived before the people themselves. It was a house built to last, but not to listen. And their children lived there quietly. Each morning began the same way. Servants moved through the halls before sunrise. Curtains were drawn, fires lit, breakfast prepared. Countess descended the stairs already dressed for the day, papers stuck beneath her arms. Good morning, mother, the eldest said once, standing straighter than necessary. The countess paused only briefly. Good morning, she replied, already turning to the steward. Have the envoys arrived? Yes, my lady. She nodded and moved on. But the youngest watched from the table, fingers tracing patterns in spilled honey. Mother, will you eat with us today? The child asks, half in the way only children can afford to be. Not today, the countess said. Perhaps tonight. And then the night came and went, like many nights before it. Candace was busy in ways that felt important and urgent. Her days were filled with disputes over land, negotiation over trade, letters that demanded immediate answers. She told herself that this was responsibility, that this was the sacrifices that she had to make. I do this for them, she said once to her advisor late at night, candle wax pulling beside her hand. For your children, madam? He asked carefully. Yes. Still, the children learn not to wait. They learn to eat without asking, to celebrate milestone quietly, to speak to one another in lowered voices as not to interrupt. Love in the house, it became something indirect, like glances exchanged, thoughts that have to be swallowed. Until one afternoon, the middle child stood in the doorway of the great hall as the countess reviewed maps with her counsel. Mother, the child said. The countess lifted her head. What is it? I fell today, the child said, holding out a scraped palm, and the room fell silent. The countess looked at the wound. It was small, barely bleeding. You should have the physician to look at it, she said. That is what he is for. But I wanted the child sobbed, words failing just like that. Just wanted to see it. I see, the countess replied, already turning back to the map. Now off you go. The child left, hands still outstretched, forgotten. That was how the wound began, not in cruelty, but in absence. Years passed like this, measured not by birthdays or lauder, but by accomplishment. The county prospered, the countess was praised. Every visitor admired the house and the discipline of its children. Fortunate they are, people said. They have everything. But everything was not the same as enough. One winter evenings, when snow pressed against the window and the eldest, now nearly grown, stood outside the countess' study once more. This time he didn't knock. Enter, the countess called, her voice tired but steady. The child stepped inside. Mother, may I speak with you? She sighed softly. Make it brief. Do you know us? Candace looked up sharply. What kind of question is that? A serious one, man. The child replied. You know our names, you know what we study, but do you know us? Silence stretched between them. I have given you everything, Candace said at last. Education, security, a future. Yes, child agree, but have you ever give us yourself? The words landed heavily like something long overdue. Candace stood. You don't understand the burden that I carried. Or let us carry some of it with you. But the Countess had already turned away. You are dismissed. That night, she sat alone in the grand hall, surrounded by echoes. For the first time, she noticed how quiet the house truly was. It's not peaceful, it's empty. She pressed a hand against her chest, surprised by the unfamiliar awe there. It was easier to return to work than to ask what it meant. So she did. She hid the wound again. She did not intend to heal it. And then the numbness came slowly. First, she stopped noticing the tension in conversations. Then she stopped feeling guilty. Eventually, even pride told. She fulfilled her duties flawlessly, but without warmth. When the youngest announced they would be leaving the estates, Countess barely react. Mother, I will be gone by the spring, the child said. Countess nodded. I see that you're prepared. That's all? The child asked, voice trembling. What's more there to say? The Countess replied. The child waited. Nothing came. In the morning of departure, the children stood together at the gates, and the Countess watched from the steps, hands folded neatly. Goodbye, mother, the eldest said. Goodbye, she answered. And they left without looking back. Years later, the Countess stood in the same house, but now it's quieter than ever. The wall still stood tall, the land still prospered, but the rooms had learned how to keep secrets. She walked past the empty bedrooms, fingers pressing the door frames. I did this for all of you, she whispered, even though no one remained to hear it. And the house did not answer either. And then did she understand that a wound hidden too often does not disappear. It teaches you how to forget. At first, you will forget others, then yourself. And in forgetting, she had become everything except what her children needed the most, mother. Oh, thank you for listening. And that's all.
Wow, that was so good. Especially the way you controlled your pacing showed like you have a real command over your narration. That was so good. Yeah. Yeah. Every story needs another voice, and this one belongs to our judges. Yes, Khyber. What do you have to say about this?
Um, Emotion wise, it was good. Pacing wise, I would say very slow. I mean, could have sometimes story does demand that. Could have been a bit better with pacing, but it's fine. Hook, you really like the hook landed really well. And what else? Yeah, overall, I liked it. It's just it like the flow went really slow, so that would be something I am thinking of. But other than that, I liked it.
Okay, Sweet Tooth, it was a great narration. I won't lie. Okay. But honestly, I think the emotion was strong. Emotion was strong, but the emotional endurance of the poem, just because of the length of it, was kind of decremented. But overall, I think your skills enough held the story greatly, very efficiently, very effectively, both at the same time. And that's why I just loved your narration. Just for that. There was a slight technical issue because of the length, but overall it was great. The emotion, the coherence of the story, the message was awesome. And on top of that, it's your own story.
Oh, that's her story. Wow. That was well
Yeah.
written, by the way. Yes, Sritut, you were saying something?
Oh, no. Yeah, it is. I just made it like years ago, and then I found it, and then doing here and there, knick-knack. So yeah, this is mine, like my own story that I would probably say I made this.
That was good. That was good. Thank you for your story. And let's move on and call the next participant. Let's keep the momentum going, guys. Who is next? Kevin.
Yes, Lalange. Is it my
Yeah.
opportunity to present? Yeah, I'll be quite short. Yeah. So, firstly, thank you very much for the judges for this opportunity and quite short to read. And yeah, and before I start, friends, I want to make this clear. I'm not going to be reading something of a text, but I don't want to give that weird sensation of a vague reading part of, the story is embedded in my soul, right? It is in my head, and I'm going to give it to you with the proper delivery, right? For sort of a better emotional comprehension, right? So let us start. But before I start, I should give out a disclaimer. Right? This is a sort of a bitty story. A little bit of fun as well, and also a little bit of dark humor to it as well. So if you're under the age of 18, and if you're especially a vegan, right, kind of this is not the video for you, the story for you, right? Kind of is today. Right, so that's about it. So let us start. Right. So my story revolves around this couple. Right. They're from America in a state called Mississippi. Right. And we got this guy called Williams and his wife. Right. And at the moment they're financially struggling. They own a butcher shop. They have a meat shop at the end of the town, and they're selling meat. And at the moment nobody's buying meat from them. Right. They're quite struggling at the moment in terms of financial. Right. And one day, right, when they were expecting for new customers to walk into their store, right, what happened was, out of nowhere, out of the blue, suddenly a van came to their store, right, and a few people jumped out of the van, disguised with white clothing and attire, and covering their faces with, I don't know, different masks of horses, cows, penguins, and everything, disguised with, armed with baseball bats, sorry, and they were dismantling the store. They were disturbing everything. They were, breaking the store, and they were, causing a lot of harm, right? And our Wilson, the man of the house, managed to grapple one of these guys down into the floor and uncut his face. And Williams understood and identified that this was the guy, right? This was the leader of the vegan society of the town. At the vegan society. So of course you guys know how vegans are, right? They abhor meat eaters for some bloody reason, right? And then what happened then what followed was, there was lots of, financial downgrade for them because apparently the people destroyed their house. They were quite mad at it, but luckily they had some insurance for the store and they were leaving to claim that money, right? And they were going in the night time, right? In a straight road with no turns, right? And they were going in their van. And when Wilson was driving, right, with his side mirror, he saw who's coming behind him. Right? It was the leader of that vegan community who arranged that raid. right? And he was cycling with some AirPods on, listening to some music, perhaps, right? Who knows? And at this point, Wilson was full of adrenaline, and he was hating that guy for, doing all the harm for the store, and they're financially struggling and everything, right? And out of control, everything happened so fast. Wilson was so mad, he put his foot on the pedal and he accelerated towards that guy and knocking him unconscious. Everything happened so fast. Our lady was screaming, Sophie was screaming, and when they got out of the van and they investigated what happened, Billy turned out, guys, that vegan guy was dead. Right. And then Sophie told, well, Williams, we have nothing to do, right? What happened has happened. There's nothing for us to do. And apparently nobody saw it. It's just you and me. It's between us. Let's quickly discuss this party, right? What do you call our Sophie told, well, let's put this guy's bicycle into the trunk. Let's put this guy into the trunk and let's refrigerate him so nobody would get a smell, right? Let's just chop him to pieces and throw him to the river, right? And then, right, and then the day followed, and now Williams was peacefully chopping this guy into pieces, getting ready to, to disguise the body, right? And when he was doing that, right, he accidentally chopped off the ear of this guy, and it fall on the ground, right? And the dog of the house came and just had a bite of it, and Williams noticed that the dog actually loved that taste, right? And then to check it, right, Williams is chopped the other piece of the ear as well of the guy and fed it the dog. And Williams understood that, oh god, the dog loves this taste of this human vegan meat, right? Plant-based vegan meat, right? And at this point, as you guys can sense it, the story is turning a little bit dark, right? Williams got this William, the guy, got sort of an entrepreneurship and a serial killer mindset and an idea to make some lucrative money, right? And I'm gonna stop there and I'm gonna skip to the next day. What happened was, when they were waiting for customers, a rich woman came through the door, an influential woman of the town, and she asked for some special meat from Williams, from the steward. She apparently has some sort of a hosting tonight at her house, and she wants some special meat to make the dinner, right? And yes, William said, well, don't worry, miss. Just for you, I've got some special type of meat that's been imported from Iran, right? From a special supply. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Right? And Sophie has no clue about this, okay? And then Williams gave that meat to her, and believe it or not, she cooked that meat, and apparently she fell in love with the taste of that meat, the Iran meat, aka plant-based vegan human meat, right? And yeah, so just like other typical women, she called her friends and said, well, girls, you gotta try this special meat. There's Iran imported meat from this store, right? And believe it or not, the conspiracy, right, spread along the entire town, and everybody was waiting in front of their store the next day, waiting to buy some special meat that's been imported by Iran. And nobody knows that it's vegan meat, right? And then what happened was everybody was passionate, everybody's loving the meat, and they made lots of money, and Williams and Sophie was running out of meat, right? It was just one guy. It's not enough to feed for an entire month, right? And then, right, they were getting so much money, and Sophie got into the idea as well. And they sort of thought, well, we gotta find more vegans, chop them out, and feed the town to be rich. This is completely unacceptable, but this is something that really happened during the French in the 1980s, right? Yeah, so then what happened was these two couple, right? This weird couple went to a family restaurant that was specially designed for vegans, right? No meat involved. And they were trying to figure out a vegan to catch a nut and chop him into pieces and sell the other day, right? So, and when they were seen for vegans in that vegan restaurant to chop into pieces, they identified a huge, fat, tall vegan sitting in the corner, apparently is the owner of the vegan store, right? And he was like full obese, right? No inch of muscle, full fat, super big, right? And they thought, yeah, this vegan piece of meat is going to be enough for the entire month, right? So they waited till the restaurant is closed and they chased the guy. The guy was just peacefully walking to his house in the boat, right? And this guy in the night were accelerating towards him in their van, trying to, hit him with the van at a high pace and kill him, right? So our vegan friend, our vegan fatso, sensed it, and he was so worried, and he understood it's going to be the end of his life, and he was sprinting for his life, right? And he was a fat guy, and he had a heart attack, and he died. And he had a heart attack. Apparently, he was a heart patient. Who knows? And he was died. And the people, the Williams and Sophie, chopped him and started selling the next day, right? And then what happened was, there was lots of customers waiting, right? And out of them, there were one special customer. It was a police IP officer, right? And he bought some meat as well. He made some lasagna out of it. And the next day, he sent it to the police station. And the entire police station was eating that human meat, the vegan meat lasagna, right? And when one OIP or VIP was eating, the police guy was eating the meat, when he was eating that, right, suddenly out of nowhere, he slipped his tongue and there was something crunchy in the middle of the meat, right? When he investigated it, they understood that it was a small silvery thing, like a coin, right? And when they further investigated it, they understood it was a pacemaker that is used by humans for people with cardiovascular diseases, right? For bypass, with heart surgeries, right? And now fatso, usually the obese people use that, right? So then the police was pondering, how could we have a human heart attack preventing tool inside a meat? Right? And they understood there's something fishy in this, and they suspected the meat toe, and they just sent a piece of that meat to the genealogy lab, and they did a genetic test of it, testing the genome of it, and they understood that this was human meat, and in fact, the meat that's been lost by the vegan who got disappeared the last time, right? And then what happened was, yeah, the police understood, yeah, there's something fishy going on with this family. There's people, and then they arrested the people. They confessed, and yeah, it was revolutionizing, right? Everybody knows it in the entire France, right? There was such a huge hit, and the people, the ones involved, are Williams and Sophie were sentenced to lifetime prison. Right? Sophie for 25 years, and Williams, the man committed the murder, was supplied with a lifetime sentence to rot in the prison. Right. So yeah, that's about my story, guys. There's something real. This happened really, and I did some changes to the story, and yeah, so that is about it. And the moral of the story, guys: don't hate vegans. Okay, even though they are weird, they don't eat meat. They're just like us humans. Don't hate vegans. Yeah, that's about my story. Thank you for listening.
That was so cool, bro. Kevin, you didn't just tell a story, you grilled it, roasted it, and served it medium rare with confidence. So that was
Right.
super
Thank
cool.
you.
Exactly. So judges are thinking, which means we move on before they overthink. Yes, Rolter.
Okay, okay. So I think you changed the style of the narration here. It felt like you witnessed this story rather than it just being actual narration or actual storytelling. Okay, which is something that I won't cut off any points for, just because of the feel of the story. Like there is nothing to complain about this, right? It is the actual feel of the story, anyways, right? That you were able to give. And also, it did not even require any particular conclusion just because of this. And on top of that, you are the one who has written the story, makes it better. And there is again a technical fault on our side, right? So that we did not have your PDF, so people could not look at the text while you read this. But it was overall a great experience. And you are better than us, man. You are an Oxfordian.
Thank you for the feedback, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
So
All right, let's move to next storyteller. And who's going to be next?
We have Akil.
Same mic, different emotional damage. Oh, Katsi is here. Hello, Katsi.
Hello, Kathy.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good
Are you
evening.
ready with the story?
Yeah, the title of my story is The Glass of Water, and it's written by ChatGPT. Kabir had always been known as a thoughtful person. He noticed things others ignored. He reflected deeply, questioned often, and tried to understand life beyond what was visible. For years, this ability had set him apart, but slowly, without him realizing it, that same depth turned inward and began to weigh on him. His thoughts were never rested. Even during moments meant for silence, his mind remained busy, replaying old conversation, revisiting mistake he could not change, imagining future that has not yet arrived. The nights were the hardest. He would lie awake, eyes open, body tired, mind alert, as if mornings always came too soon. After many such nights, Kabir understood something unsettling. He was not exhausted by his work or his responsibilities. He was exhausted by carrying too much inside his mind. One morning, without announcing it to anyone, Kabir decided to leave. He walked away from the noise of the city and the routines that demanded constant attention. The further he traveled, the quieter the world became. Roads narrowed, voice faded. Eventually, he reached a small mountain village where time seemed to move more slowly. The people there spoke of an old man who lived simply and was known not for giving answers but for offering clarity. Kabir went to see him. The old man welcomed him without curiosity or judgment. There were no questions about Kabir's past, no concern for why he had came. Instead, the man motioned towards a small wooden table. On it sat a clear glass and a jug of water. Without a word, the old man began to pour. The glass filled quickly, yet he did not stop. Water rose above the rim and spilled onto the table, then onto the ground. Kabir shifted uncomfortably. It's full, he said. The old man nodded. Exactly. He gestured towards the glass. This is your mind. Every day you fill it with thoughts, worries, expectations, regret. When something new arrives, there is no space for it. All that happens is overflow. Kabir remained silent. The image was uncomfortably familiar. The old man continued. Your problem is not thinking, it is holding on. He then emptied the glass and placed it back on the table. Stay, he said simply. Kabir remained in the village for several days. There were no lessons, no instruction beyond simple tasks walking, eating, sitting in silence. At first, his mind resisted fiercely. Thoughts rushed in the moment he tried to be still. Doubts, impatience, old habits written again and again. But each time he noticed this, he remembered the glass. Instead of following his thoughts, he watched them. Instead of pushing them away, he let them pass. Slowly, without efforts, gaps began to appear. Brief moments of quiet, those moments grew. For the first time in a long while, Kabir slept through the night. When it was time to leave, the old man did not offer advice or farewell words. He simply placed the empty glass in Kabir's hand. Kabir returned to his life. The city was just as loud. His responsibilities were unchanged, problems still existed, but his mind was different. Thoughts still came, but they no longer stayed. Kabir had learned something essential. Peace is not found by adding more understanding, more efforts, or more control. It comes from making space. And with an empty glass, life finally had room to enter. Thank you.
Wow, good job, Katsi. Even though the story was written by ChatGPT, but you held the room with your narration, and that's a rare and impressive skill. Good job. Yes, let's shift the spotlight smoothly. Judges, your thoughts?
Okay, Kathy, you had great great clarity, and you enlightened the audience with the message that was hidden behind the story. The message, the
Mhm.
philosophical angle of the story was very subtly presented, and I loved your narration for that. There was nothing really fancy, but the simplicity itself carried the authenticity of the poem. Sorry, of the story. Oh my god. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. It was really good narration. The hook landed well, as Walter said. Like the message was subtly clear, so I like that. Pacing was good. Emotion wise, I think there could have like there's still room to improve, but you did good, and like the structure was well, like it was well structured. So overall, I liked it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Ketsi, do you want to show any gratitude to ChatGPT?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still sad it wasn't a diabolical story, but I learned a lot from all the
Mhm.
participants. So this was a good experience for me.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's move on to our next participant. And who is the next participant?
Achilles. And the other
Achilles.
participant as well. Yep. Let me call him on stage. He's here.
Achilles, you there?
Already invited. Okay, finally, yeah.
He's up. Yeah.
Yeah, he's here.
Am I audible?
Please? Yes, yes, you are. You are.
Oh my god, okay. Should I start?
You miss. Yeah, you may start.
Okay. So, this is called Seatmate, written by me. Um, this is, I don't know if you would call this a story, and this is about, this is about nothing. This is just a random thing. Okay, Seatmate. Oh, like, let me take some breaths. Okay. It was cold morning. The sun hasn't risen yet. I was going on a journey alone for the first time, with a feeling of fear and excitement in my chest. I'm sitting on the window side of the bus alone. The bus stops. Someone enters with the smell of a fruit I can't remember the name of. Excuse me, looking at my bag, she says. Sorry, I say. I pick the bag up on my lap. She didn't hear me, earphone plugged to her ears. I smile to myself. A joke comes to me related to her dress. She was wearing red sweater and white converse, with glasses and a clock ring, listening to music and singing loudly with no care for anyone. I really wanted to tell her the joke, but I was nervous. I hadn't talked to any girl in months. Something in my body stopping me, but my heart was restless. I told myself if I didn't tell her, I would regret it. So I gathered the courage to tap on her back lightly. Her head tilts towards me. She took out her earphones. Listen, I said. She's trying to figure out what happened, or what does he want. I say, I have a bad joke to tell you, and if I didn't tell you, I would regret it. Bus was too loud. She couldn't hear, and he was speaking English, so I was afraid she wouldn't understand. It was not her native language. I come closer to her ear. She leans towards me. I spoke loudly this time. I felt a rush of blood on my face. Listen, I said. I'm going to tell you a bad joke, so listen. It came out a little rude, he thought, the way he said it. Okay, she says, tucking her hair back behind her ears to listen better. That was the first time I saw her whole face. Her lips had the same shade of pink as her sweater. When you came, he said, I smelled something nice. She smiled. And I had this thing, I have this thing called synesthesia. When I see colors in my mind, when I see colors, wait, wait, where I see colors in my mind when I see smell something. So I saw a shade of pink when you entered the bus, and when you sat beside me, you were wearing the same color sweater. That was a lie. But I really imagined the color red and pink when I smelled her after she sat beside me. Then I told her, so I'm saying that your detergent really complements your sweater. There was a confused look on her face. I said again. She scooted a little towards me to listen better. But that wasn't the issue. I said again, your detergent complements your sweater. She squinted her eyes. The look was there again. I said, you didn't get it? I do, but I don't understand the joke, she said. You know what a detergent is, right? Yes, she said. It's what you wash your clothes with. I repeated the line 2 times. She didn't get it. My chest was heavy, dense. I was stammering. I wanted to run away, my face plum red. I said, I meant deodorant. And she goes, oh, but what was the joke? That's the joke, I said. That's why I said it's a bad joke. Her eyebrows raised, wrinkles forming on her forehead, mouth opened, lost for words. I had screwed up, so I decided to make it worse. I started explaining. I intentionally mispronounced the detergent so you would laugh, and I'll say, "Oh, sorry, I meant deodorant." She goes, "Oh." She was looking at me silently. I couldn't look at her. I said, I'm going to sleep now. I pulled away, closed my eyes, and didn't speak to her again. I leaned my head on the window. The bus jolts, and I hit my nose against it. I. She looks at me. The conductor looks at me. The people sitting across us looks at me, and I am in pain, pretending not to be hurt, just looking outside the window, my eyes getting watered, my nose red. I was going to jump out of the window, but the bus stops. She gets up to leave. The sun is rising. I look at her outside the window, but the bus starts to move. I look at her one last time to say goodbye to the girl I will never meet again, who unintentionally helped me or shaped me in in some little way in those little moments she had with me. I wave at her. She looks at me but doesn't wave back. The bus keeps moving. I can't see her anymore, but I'm still with her, thinking back at what happened, smiling that it did happen, no regrets. Outside the window, there are trees, lots of trees, bushes, every single one unique with a story of its own. I'm trying to see everyone wholly, but the bus is too fast. It doesn't wait for me. I only get a glimpse, then it's gone. I try to hold on to one, but it's gone. They come and go, and I can only watch. An old man comes and sits beside me, wearing a monkey cap and a stick in his hand, and I have a really bad joke I want to tell him. Oh my god, thank you.
That was really good. At least. Were you feeling nervous?
Of course,
What
so
was happening
much.
with you?
Uh,
You were taking long pauses.
yeah, there was
And in,
mistakes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. After a few hiccups, the narration was very good. Yeah, let's hear from the judges what they have to say about it. Yes, Rolto.
Okay, Achilles, you did a great job, and it was pretty evident that you were nervous, and I won't deny that, right? But it's all okay. It's all okay. It was your own story, and it was very simple. It was very authentic, right? It had a different, this trick, not a trick, but this some a hidden message about some fictional or some real disorder, you can say, that writers like to put in their stories and give it an emotional angle, which you have done very expertly. So, on the criteria of story writing, you did amazing, right? But in the criteria of narration, your pace was a bit too slow. And but overall, it was a great try, and I won't complain about anything else. Maybe Khyber want to say something?
So on the story writing part, I definitely agree with Rolter. The story you wrote was really good, but again, this is the narration competition, and there were definitely a lot of gaps throughout the narration. Pacing was slow. Hook for me didn't went quite where it was supposed to be, but otherwise, I think for first time and how nervous you sounded, I think you did a pretty good job with that. So it was good.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah, I'm really glad. Like the event, this made me write something for the first time, and yeah, I'm really proud that I did write something, and then I read it to all of the people. Yeah, thank you for that, and yeah, I don't care about anything else. Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Let's go.
that was good. I think the room is open for everyone. So anyone wants to share their story, narrate their story from the audience also. No one? Uh, yes. So yeah, Walter, you wanted to say something?
Okay, so we did not anticipate this event to go so long. So we will be cutting on some rounds after the second round is over, right? We will move to the emotional parts of the story, and then last we will have the creative angle. And in the last round, you guys also can help the two finalists to choose their story, to choose the trajectory of the emotions that they have to present through their verbals. And for now, we will start with the second round. And before we do that, one thing is that Find could not join us for the next part of the event, but she was literally the most professional one here, and she did amazing, mind boggling, right? So I just wanted to mention her to honor her in the event nonetheless. But for now, we have to move on to the next part. Things sometimes doesn't go as we plan them to be, right? So let's just move on. And now Lalu Langur can explain you guys the criteria of the next event.
Yes. So round two will be motivational stories round. All the participants will receive the story and they'll be judged on interpretation, inspiration, delivery, and the impact of the story. So what are the names, Rolter and Khyber?
Okay.
So I can announce the names for the final standings, and we'll go with our top six. Right, Rolter?
Yep, exactly. We have the top six.
Okay. So we'll be going with our top six, like the ones who scored the most. So first, let's start from the sixth. So on sixth position, we have You Know Who. Fifth, we have Sweet Tooth. Fourth, we have Rang Rang. Third, we have Amy. Second, we have Right. And drum roll, please, because the first position goes to none other than Mystic Rage.
Wow.
So, guys, you are our top six contenders in our like standings. So let's move forward to round two, and special mention to our other participants who unfortunately couldn't make it to the next round. Katsy, SG, and Achilles. You guys did a really fantastic job, but again, there were rooms for improvement, and we will love to see you in our next event with a much better grab on storytelling and whatever comes next.
Yes. Let's move on to the next round. Let's gently park the stories that we read in our hearts, and let's start the second round. And let me bring the next brave soul to the mic. Yes. Yes, Kaibo, who's going to narrate?
Okay,
Okay.
let's start with the highest bracket. I think Kyber is having some internet
Yeah,
issues.
I invited Mystic. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, okay.
Okay, Mr. Before you start,
Oh,
I will say so. Now we will be
Yeah,
only judging of how much the feeling of
yeah.
encouragement you can give throughout the narration of the story without actually explaining the meaning of the
Okay.
story. So we won't be taking much time, right?
Yeah.
So let's just start with that. Just the invigorating part of the story you had to convey.
Okay. Sure. Go ahead. Okay. So the three questions before I start the narration of this one, I want to just say one thing that sometimes all it takes is one story to remind you of who you really are, that you are capable of everything. So here's to this genre, here's to this one. The Three Questions by Leo Tolstoy. It once occurred to a certain king that if he always knew the right thing, right time to begin everything, if he knew who were the right people to listen to and whom to avoid, and above all, if he always knew what was the most important thing to do, he would never fail in anything he might undertake. And this thought having occurred to him, he had it proclaimed throughout his kingdom that he would give a great reward to anyone who would teach him what was the right time for every action and who were the most necessary people and how he might know what was the most important thing to do. And learned men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. In reply to the first question, some said that to know the right time for action was one must draw up in advance a table of days, months, and years, and must live strictly according to it. Only thus, said they, could everything be done at its proper time. Others declared that it was impossible to decide beforehand the right time for every action, but that not letting oneself be absorbed in the ideal pastimes, one should always attend to all that was going on, and then do what was most needful. Others again said that however attentive the king might be to what was going on, it was impossible for one man to decide correctly the time for every action, but that he should have a council of wise men who could help him to fix the proper time for everything. But then again, others said there were some things which could not wait to be laid before a council, but about which one had at once to decide whether to undertake them or not. But in order to decide that, one must know beforehand what was going to happen. It is only magicians who know that, and therefore, in order to know the right time for every action, one must consult magicians. Equally, various were the answers to the second question. Some said the people the king most needed were his counselors, others the priests, others the doctors, while some said the warriors were the most necessary. To the third question as to what was the most important occupation, some replied that the most important thing in the world was science. Others said it was skill in warfare, and others again that it was just a religious worship. All the answers being different, the king agreed with none of them and gave the reward to none. But still wishing to find the right answers to his questions, he decided to consult a hermit, widely renowned for his wisdom. The hermit lived in a wood which the hermit lived in a wood which wait I just the okay.
I have
The hermit lived in a wood which he never quitted, and he received none but common folk. So the king put on simple clothes, and before reaching the hermit's cell, dismounted from his horse, leaving his bodyguard behind, he went on alone. When the king approached, the hermit was digging the ground in front of his hut. Seeing the king, he greeted him and went on digging. The hermit was frail and weak, and each time he stuck his spade into the ground and turned a little earth, he breathed heavily. The king went up to him and said, I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you the answers of three questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? Who are the people I most needed, and to whom should I therefore pay more attention than to the rest? And what affairs are the most important and need my first attention? The hermit listened to the king, but answered nothing. He just spat on his hand and recommended digging. You are tired, said the king. Let me take the spade and work a while for you. Thanks, said the hermit, and giving the spade to the king, he sat down on the ground. When he had dug two beds, the king stopped and repeated his questions. The hermit again gave no answer, but rose, stretched out his hand for the spade, and said, Now rest a while and let me work a bit. But the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed and another. The sun began to sink behind the trees, and the king at last stuck the spade into the ground and said, I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my question. If you can give me none, tell me so, and I will return home. Here comes someone running, and said the hermit, let us see who it is. The king turned round and saw a bearded man coming running out of the wood. The man held his hand pressed against his stomach, and blood was flowing under them. When he reached the king, he fell fainting on the ground, moaning feebly. The king and the hermit unfastened the man's clothing. There was a large wound in his stomach. The king washed it as best he could and banged it with his handkerchief and with a towel the hermit had. But the blood would not stop flowing, and the king again and again removed the bandage soaked with the warm blood and washed and rebandaged the wound. When at the last the blood ceased flowing, the man received and asked for something to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. Meanwhile, the sun had set and something to drink Meanwhile, the sun had set and it had become cool, so the king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. Lying on the bed, the man closed his eyes and was quiet. But the king was so tired from his walk and from the work he had done that he crouched down on the threshold and also fell asleep, so soundly that he slept all through the short summer's night. When he woke in the morning, it was long before he could remember where he was or who was the strange bearded man lying on the bed and gazing intensely at him with shining eyes. Forgive me, said the bearded man in weak voice when he saw that the king was awake and was looking at him. I do not know you and have nothing to forgive you for, said the king. You do not know me, but I know you. I am that enemy of yours who swore to revenge himself on you. Because you executed his brother and seized his property, I knew you had gone alone to see the hermit, and I resolved to kill you on your way back. But the day passed, and you did not return. So I came out of my ambush to find you and came upon your bodyguard, and they recognized me and wounded me. I escaped from them, but should have bled to death, and you not dressed my wound. I wished to kill you, and you have saved my life. Now, if I live and if you wish it, I will serve you as your most faithful slave and will bid my sons to do the same. Forgive me. The king was very glad The king was very glad to have made peace with his enemy so easily and to have gained him for a friend. And not only he no, and he not only forgave him, but he said he would send his servants and his own physician to attend him and promised to restore his property. Having taken leave of the wounded man, the king went out into the porch and looked around the hermit before going away. He wished one more to beg answer to the questions he had put. The hermit was outside on his knees, sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king approached him and said, For the last time, I pray you to answer my question, wise man. You have already been answered, said the hermit, still crouching on his thin legs and looking up at the king who stood before him. How answered? What do you mean? Asked the king. Do you not see, replied the hermit, if you had not pitied my weakness yesterday, and had not dug these beds for me, but have gone your way, that man would have attacked you, and you would have repented of not stayed with me. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds, and I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business afterwards. When that man ran to us, the most important time was when you were attending to him, for if you had not bound up his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important man, and what you did for him was your most important business. Remember then, there is only one time that is important. That is now. It is the most important time because it is the only time when we have the power. The most necessary person is the one with whom you are, for no man knows whether he will ever have dealings with anyone else, and the most important affair is to do that person good because for the purpose alone man sent into this life. Thank you so much.
Right. That story had more twist than my wired earphones. It was a good story. And Mystic, your storytelling had such a clarity that it felt effortless. Kudos to you. Yeah, let's move on to the judges. Yes, Rolto.
Okay, Mystic, you are really passionate about the event as always, always doing the best that you can in anywhere, in any ground that you step in. And I love the storytelling. You held the endurance of the encouragement with your voice. That was amazing. Maybe Kyber has something more to say about this.
Definitely. Yeah, like the passion you showed toward this story with such a special message and the three questions that were asked to the king. I think the approach for you to this story was really beautiful. I really enjoyed your read, and it was the clarity was there. The pronunciations were good. It had a good impact, and delivery was definitely like really good. So overall, I enjoyed this, and you had and the read was really good.
Yeah. And also the fact that you
Yes,
always like to add something extra whenever you participate, which is just the favorite part of mine.
Exactly, like full of emotions.
yes,
Even after the story has it all, you still somehow has the capacity to add more to it.
exactly. Mystic, you have to say something?
Yeah, I realize my mistakes. This was not my best one, but yeah, I'm trying, looking forward, and I appreciate your patience, all of you guys hanging around and doing some amazing events. So just gratitude for all of you. And every day with every event, we try to understand our mistakes and be our own critic and try to better it. So hopefully one day we will have a global event over here. So yeah,
Fingers crossed.
What I'll suggest you not to think about those mistakes because Rolta and Khyber are there for that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, don't burn your calories thinking about it. You did really great.
We're trying. So trying our best. So thank you so much, the judges and everybody.
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, let's move on to our next participant. Right is over here. Hello, Right. Are you ready with this story?
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
A Grain
Please
as
bless us.
is
Yes, yes.
Hen's
Go ahead.
Egg by Leo Tolstoy. One day, some children found in a ravine a thin shaped like a grain of corn, with a groove down the middle, but as large as hen's egg. A traveler passing by saw the thing, bought it from the children for a penny, and taking it to the town, told it to the king as curiosity. The king called together his wise men and told them to find out what the thing was. The
I think your mic disconnected, right?
Right?
Yes,
You're
there
not
is
audible to us.
the mic.
I was fixing my mic. I thought I got disconnected.
No worries.
Right? You're not audible to us if you're listening.
Yeah, maybe.
Internet issue maybe. Could be, could be. Right, you are right. That rhymed well.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes.
Internet
Let's wait
came back
for
with
a few more
Oh,
seconds. And okay, we'll pause. Yeah.
Hi, am I audible?
Technical.
Yep.
yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank God you are here.
Where
Technical
was
hiccups
I?
don't break good stories. Right.
The
Wanna
king
start
called
again?
together his wise men and told them to find out what the thing was. The wise man pondered and could not make head or tail of it. Till one day, when the thing was lying on a window sill, a hen flew in a peck at, at it. She made a hole in it, and then everyone saw that it was a grain of corn. The wise man went to the king and said, "It is a grain of corn." At this, the king was much surprised, and he ordered the learned man to find out when and where such corn had grown. The learned man por- pondered again and searched in their books, but couldn't find nothing about it. So they returned to the king and said, we can give you an we can give you no answer. There is nothing about it. Our book. You will have to. I'm so sorry. I can read. I have eyesight. I can't read it properly. It's not visible to me.
Okay, okay. I will send you the screenshots.
Yeah.
I'll DM you.
We can give you no answer. There is nothing about in our book. You will have to ask the peasant. Perhaps some of them may have heard from their father when and where grain grew to such a size. So the king was ordered that some very old peasant should be brought before him, and his servant found such a man and brought him to the king, old and bent, ashy pale and toothless. He just managed with the help of two crutches to loiter to tolter into the king's presence. The king showed him the grain, but the old man could hardly see it. He took it, however, and felt it with his hand. The king questioned him, saying, "Can you tell us, old man, where such grain as this grew? Have you ever bought such corn or sown such in your fields?" The old man was so deaf that he could hardly hear what the king said, and only understood with great difficulty. "No," he answered at last, "I never sowed, nor repeat any like it in my field, nor did I buy my such. When we bought corn, the grain were always as small as they are now. But you might ask my father. He may have heard such grain grew." So the king sent for the old man's fathers, and he was found and brought before the king. He saw walking with one crutch. The king showed him the grain, and the old peasant, who was still able to see, took a good look at it. And the king asked him, "Can you not tell us, old man, where corn like this used to grow? Have you ever bought any like it? Or snow any in your field? Though the old man was rather hard of hearing, he still heard better than his own son had done.
You have one more screenshot. Yep.
No, he said, I never sold. Oh, so sorry. Where was it?
No rush. Whenever you are ready, we are listening.
Right, I have sent you PDF in the chat section. You can also access from there.
Am I supposed to read it from here? No, he said, I never sold. Or
Yeah.
I'm so confused right now.
Yeah. No, he said, I never sowed nor reaped any
Oh,
grain.
okay. No, he said, I never sowed nor ribbed any grain like this in my field. As to buying, I never bought any, for in my time money was not yet in use. Everyone grew his own corn, and when there was any need, we shared with one another. I do not know where corn like this grew. Our, our was larger, yielder, more flour than present day grain, but I never saw any like this. I have, however, heard my father say that this time the grain grew larger and yielded more flour than ours. You had better ask him. So the king sent for the old man's father. They found him too, and brought him before the king. He entered, walking easily, without crutches. His eyes was clear, he hearing good, and he spoke distinctly. The king showed him the grain, and the old grandfather looked at it, and turned it about in his hand. It is long since I saw such a fine grain, he said, and he bit a piece of and tasted it. It's the very it's the very same kind, he added. Tell me, grandfather, said the king, when and where was the corn grown? Have you ever bought any like it, or sown any in your field? And the old man replied, corn like this used to grow everywhere in my time. I lived on corn like this in my young day, and fed other on it. It was grain like this that we used to sow and reap and thrash. And the king asked, tell me, grandfather, did 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 you buy it anywhere, or did you grow it all yourself? The old man smiled. In my time, he answered, no one ever thought of such a sin as buying or selling bread. And we knew nothing of money. Each man had corn enough of his own. Then tell me, grandfather, asked the king, where was your field? Where did you grow corn like this? And grandfather answered, my field was God's earth. Where, wherever I plowed, there was my field. Land was free. It was nothing no man called his own. Labor was only thing men called their own. Answer me two Answer me two questions, said the king. The first is, why did the earth bear such grain then, and has keys to do so now? And the second is, why your grandson walk with two crutches, your son with one, and yourself with no? Your eyes are bright, your teeth sound, and your speech clear and pleasant to the ear. How have these things come about? And the old man answered, these things are so, because men have keys to live by their own labor, and have taken depending on the labor of others. In the old time, men lived according to God's law. They had They had what was their own, and coveted not what other had produced.
Okay, Anuj.
Okay, right. Good job. Good job. A lot of hiccups happen, but that's okay. I must tell you, you have such a distinct voice as a narrator. And let's see
I
what
hope you
judges.
mean it.
Yes, yes, you were saying something, right?
I'm saying that I hope you mean it.
Yeah, yeah, I do, I do, I do. You really got a very nice voice. Very crisp, I must say. And let's see what judges have to tell about that. Yes, Rolto.
Okay, okay, right. You held the main message behind the story that was for the encouragement. Although there were some problems, technical difficulties in between, despite them, we can't ignore the quality of your narration. And as Anuj praised your voice, which is definitely not something false, right? So yeah, it was great overall. I will just ignore the technical difficulties. Like we can't care about this when the narration is this good, right? Right, Kyber?
Definitely. I mean, like narration is the main part. So if there are technical difficulties, we would just ignore it. Other than that, I would say you did a pretty good job even after there were so many like incontinuations, and still you went on so smooth with the story. It was really impressive. Your read was
Thank
good.
you so much.
You read it with clarity. Every word was crisp, so I liked it.
Yes.
All
Right,
right.
you have to say something?
I just want to say thank you all. After all this, you're still appreciating me. Thank you so much.
There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
definitely,
with
definitely. You did
appreciating.
a really good job with that narration.
Yeah, okay. So, by the way, before the next contestant arrives, I will say that a big part of encouragement would be the pace. So, try to make the story go as quickly as you can while still holding the main agenda behind the story. We will care for speed here, and we, by the way, to the audience, we have eaten a lot of your time, and we ourselves also did not anticipate this. So after this round we will have the two finalists, and we will improvise the prompt round after this. So we only have four contestants left. I hope you guys can buckle up and sit for a few more minutes, maybe 30. Yeah, thank you. Let's continue with the event now. Amy, are you ready?
Amy's here. Amy, are you ready with your story?
Yep, give me a second.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
take your time.
So I'm going to start it now.
Okay, okay.
The Stone Cutter by Andrew Lang. Once upon a time, there lived a stone cutter who went every day to a great rock in the side of a big mountain and cut out slabs for gravestones or for houses. He understood very well the kinds of stone wanted for the different purposes, and as he was a careful workman, he had plenty of customers. For a long time, he was quite happy and contented, and asked for nothing better than what he had. Now in the mountain dwelt a spirit which now and then appeared to men and helped them in many ways to become rich and prosperous. The stone cutter, however, had never seen the spirit and only shook his head with an unbelieving air when anyone spoke of it. But a time was coming when he learned to change his opinion. One day the stonecutter carried a gravestone to the house of a rich man and saw there all sorts of beautiful things of which he had never ever dreamed. Suddenly his daily work seems to grow harder and heavier, and he said to himself, "Oh, if only I were a rich man and could sleep in a bed with the silken curtains and golden tassels, how happy I should be." And a voice answered him, Your wish is heard, your wish is heard, a rich man you shall be. At the sound of the voice, the stonecutter looked around, but could see nobody. He thought it was all his fancy, and picked up his tools and went home, for he didn't feel inclined to do any more work that day. But when he reached the little house where he lived, he stood still with amazement, for instead of his wooden hut was a stately palace filled with splendid furniture, and most splendid of all was the bed, in every respect like the one he had invite. Okay. He was nearly beside him with joy, and in his new life the old one was soon forgotten. It was now the beginning of summer, and each day the sun blazed more fiercely. One morning the heat was so great that the stone cutter could scarcely breathe, but he determined he would stay at home till the evening. He was rather dull, for he had never learned how to amuse himself, and was peeping through the closed blinds to see what was going on in the street, when when a little carriage passed by, drawn by a servant dressed in blue and silver. In the carriage sat a prince, and over his head a golden umbrella was held to protect him from the sun rays. Oh, if I were only a prince, said the stonecutter to himself as the carriage vanished around the corner. Oh, if I were only a prince and could go in such a carriage and have a golden umbrella held over me, how happy I should be. And the voice of the mountain spirit answered, your wish is heard, a prince you shall be. And a prince he was. Before his carriage rode one company of men, and another behind it. Servants dressed in scarlet and gold bore him along. The coveted umbrella was held over his head. Everything heart could desire was his. But yet it was not enough. He looked around. He looked round still for something to wish for, and when he saw that in spite of water he poured on his grass, the sun rays of the sun scorched it, and that in spite of the umbrella held over his head, each day his face grew browner and browner. He cried in his anger, the sun is mightier than I. Oh, if I were only the sun. And the mountain spirit answered, your wish is heard, the sun you shall be. And the sun he was, and felt himself proud in his power. He shot his beams above and below, on earth and in heaven. He burnt up the grass in the fields, and scorched the faces of princes as well as of poorer folk. But in a short time he began to grow tired of his might, for there seemed nothing left for him to do. Discontent once more filled his soul, and when a cloud covered his face and hid the earth from him, he cried in his anger, does the cloud hold captive my race? And is it mightier than I? Oh, that I were a cloud and mightier than any. And the mountain spirit answered, your wish is heard, a cloud you shall be. And a cloud he was, and lay between the sun and the earth. He caught the sun's beam and held them, and to his joy the earth grew greener again, and flowers blossomed. But that was not enough for him, and for days and weeks he poured forth rain till the rivers overflowed their banks, and the crops of rice stood in water. Towns and villages were destroyed by the power of the rain. Only the green rock of the mountain side remained unmoved. The cloud was amazed at the sight, and cried in wonder, is the rock then mightier than I? Oh, if I were only the rock! And the mountain spirit answered, your wish is heard, the rock you shall be. And the rock he was, and gloried in his power. Proudly he stood, and neither the heat of the sun nor the force of the rain could move him. This is better than all, he said to himself. But one day he heard a strange noise at his feet, and when he looked down to see what it could be, he saw a stone cutter driving tools into his surface. Even while he looked a trembling feeling drain all through him, and a great block broke off and fell upon the ground. Then he cried in his wrath, Is a merry child of earth mightier than a rock? Oh, if I were only a man. And the mountain spirit answered, your wish is heard. Once a man more you shall be. And a man he was, and in the sweat of his brow he toiled again at his trade of stone cutter. His bed was hard and his food scanty, but he had learned to be satisfied with it, and did not long to be something or somebody else. As and as he never asked for something he had not got, a desire to be greater and mightier than people. He was happy at last and heard the voice of the mountain spirit no longer. Thank you.
Wow, that was smooth, Amy. That was really confident storytelling.
Thank you.
And let me not steal more words and directly hear from the judges what they have to say.
Okay.
Yes, Kaiba.
So
Okay. Definitely. The story in itself is really good, like the cycle of non-satisfaction. But coming on to the pronunciations of Amy, really good. There were some gaps in between, but almost negligible. There was definitely clarity, impact. Yes. So yeah, overall, I would say it was a very good read. The flow was good, and emotion wise also you did a good job. So yes, impressive.
Thank you, Heber.
yeah, great. I mean, just the pronunciations was the bad part of the storytelling, which proves your ableness to actually narrate the story and convey its emotions. So yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about your narration. You did great.
Thank you. Walter.
Yes, Amy, you have to say anything?
No, no, I don't have to say anything.
Okay. Okay, then let's move on to our next participant. Yes, who is next?
Sorry, my bad. I had to invite. Next is Rang Rang.
Yes, Rang Rang, are you ready with the story?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes, let's start.
Two brothers and the gold. In ancient times there lived not far from Jerusalem two brothers, the elder named Athanasius and the younger John. They lived in a mountain not far from the city and supported themselves on what people offered them. The brothers passed all their days at work. They worked not for themselves but for the poor. Wherever wherever were those who were oppressed by labor, or sick people, or orphans, or widows, thit- thither the brothers went, and there they worked, and received no pay. Thus the two brothers passed the whole week away from each other, and met only on Saturday evening in their abode. On Sunday alone did they stay at home, and then they prayed and talked with each other, and an angel of the Lord came down to them and blessed them. On Monday they separated each in his own direction. Thus they lived for many years, and each week the angel of the Lord came down to them and blessed them. One Monday, when the brothers had already gone out to work and had gone each in his direction, the elder brother, Athanasius, was loath to part from his brother, and he stopped and looked back. John was walking with lowered head in his direction without looking back. But suddenly John, too, stopped and, as though he had suddenly noticed something, gazed at something while shielding his eyes. When he approached what he was gazing at, suddenly jumped to one side, and without looking back ran downhill and uphill again, away from the place as though a wolf were after him. Athanasius was surprised. He went back to that spot to see what it was that had so frightened his brother. He went up to it and saw something shining in the sun. He came nearer, and there lay a heap of gold on the ground, as though poured out from a measure, and Athanasius was still more surprised, both at the gold and at his brother's leap. Why was he frightened, and why did he run away? Thought Athanasius. There is no sin in gold. The sin is in man. With gold one may do wrong, but also some good. How many orphans and widows may be fed, how many naked people dressed, and the poor and the sick aided with this gold. We now serve people, but our service is small, though it is to the best of our strength. With this gold, however, we can serve people better. Thus Athanasius thought, and he wanted to tell it all to his brother. But John was out of the range of hearing, and could be seen only as a speck the size of a beetle on another mountain. Athanasius took off his cloak, scooped up as much gold as he was able to carry away, threw it on his shoulder, and carried it into the city. Came to a hostelry, and left the gold with the keeper, and went back for the rest. When he had brought all the gold, he went to the merchants, bought some land in the city, and stones and timber, and hired laborers, and began to build 3 houses. Athanasius lived for 3 months in the city, and built 3 houses there: one an asylum for widows and orphans, another a hospital for the sick and the lame, and a third for pilgrims and for the needy. And Athanasius found 3 God-fearing old men, and one of them he placed in charge of the asylum, the second of the hospital, and the third of the hostelry. And Athanasius had still 3,000 gold coins left. He gave each old man 1,000 coins to distribute them to the poor. The 3 houses began to fill up with people, and the people began to praise Athanasius for everything he had done, and Athanasius was glad of that and did not feel like leaving the city. But he loved his brother, and so he bade the people farewell, and without keeping a single coin went back to his abode, wearing the same old garment in which he had come. As Athanasius was approaching his mountain, he thought, "My brother did not judge rightly when he jumped from the goal and ran away from it. Have I not done better?" And no sooner had Athenius thought so than he saw the angel who used to bless him standing in the road and looking threateningly at him. And Athanasius was frightened and only said, "For what, Lord?" And the angel opened his lips and said, "Go hence, you are not worthy of living with your brother. One leap of your brother is worth all the deeds which you have done with your gold." And Athanasius began to speak of how many poor people and pilgrims he had fed, and how many orphans he had housed. And the angel said, "The devil who placed the gold there has also taught you these words." Then only did his conscience trouble him, and he saw that he had done his deed not for God, and he wept and began to repent. The angel stepped out of the road and opened the path on which his brother John was already standing and waiting for him. After that, Athanasius no longer submitted to the temptation of the devil who had scattered the gold, and he understood that not with gold, but only with words can we serve God and men, and the brothers began to live as before.
Yeah, Rang Rang, that was very clear and engaging and well-paced narration, I must say. And let's quickly move to judges. What they have to tell. Rolto?
Yeah, Rangrang, you had quite a voice in this story. I loved the narration, and you also had the, how do I say this, like the innocence behind it, or the simplicity. I think there's quite a redundancy in this word now, but the simplicity of the story, that just donating your money, your wealth to the poor section of the society, or being more of a communist. Communist is a very political term, I must say, but yeah, you had held the message greatly throughout the story, and which was the main motive, anyways, of this particular round. Okay, what about Kaiwa? What do you think?
I think the message that the story gave about the self righteousness, it was like the way Rang Rang put it out there for the listeners was really well done. Um, I liked the narration, the impact was good, the pronunciations were on point. So overall, I really enjoyed the way you did it.
Thank you.
Yes, good job, Rang Rang. Let's Call the next participant,
Invitation sent.
Sweetut.
Oh, yes. Can I get the.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me just download it first. What did I do? Oh, I really
Yeah.
had a bad. Oh, give me a moment. Oh my God, my connection is really bad.
You're audible
Oh,
to us.
shoot.
It's okay. No rush.
Oh, wait. Where is it?
We're, we're listening whenever you're ready.
I'm trying- Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Oh my God, I'm sorry, guys.
Take
My
your time.
apologies.
Take your time.
Okay, okay, I get it. Oh, Franz Kafka. Wow. Poseidon by Franz Kafka. Poseidon was sitting at his desk working. The administration of all the waters was a huge task. He could have had as many assistants as he wanted, and in fact, he did have a large staff. But since he took his job very seriously and went through all the calculations himself anyway, systems were of little use to him. One cannot say that the work made him happy either. He only did it because it was his to do. Yes, he had often requested happier work, as he put it, but whenever they came back to him with suggestions, it turned out that nothing appealed to him as much as what he was doing. It was actually very difficult to find anything else for him, and it was hardly possible to put him in charge of a particular sea, quite apart from the fact that the calculations involved were no less and arose just more trivial. Well, since Brett Poseidon was only ever in line for executive post, and he was over it, and if he was over the job in a different department, the very thought of it was enough to turn his stomach. His divine breath became restless, his bronze thorax quaked. Not that they took his complaints all that seriously. If a great power kicks up, then you have to be seen to give it to him. Even in the most helpless cause, no one seriously thought of having Poseidon removed from office. He had been a good of the seas from the beginning of the time, and would have remained such. The thing that most angered him, and this was the principal cause of his unhappiness in his job, was when he got to hear that people thought it involved that is forever parting the waves with his trident. And while all the time he was sitting at the bottom of the ocean, up to his ears in figures, the occasional visit to Jupiter was really the only break in the monotony. A visit, moreover, from which he usually returned in a towering bad temper. He hardly ever clapped eyes on the seas, only fleetingly on his hurried way up to Olympus. He had never sailed them as such. He tended to say he was waiting for the war to end first, because there was bound to be a quiet moment just before the end, when he had signed off on his last calculation and would be able to take himself on a little cruise somewhere. Thank you.
That was so good. As always, you held the room well done. So yeah, let's see what judges have to say about it.
So, like the story of Poseidon by Franz Kafka, a short story, but definitely tells a lot about how, like the trust of bureaucracy. So, well narrated, good clarity, good impact. So overall, I would say it was good. Just I guess I mean there were some gaps or like punctuation gaps in between, but other than that, it was good.
Yeah, Chitut, you had a great narration. You gave out the expression
Thank
really
you.
well. The pace could have been a bit more hastier, but overall, it is still a part of the story, and you nailed it.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it.
So
Another,
yeah, Rolto, do we have more participants or should we move next?
yeah, we have the next
Should
person.
we move to the next
We have
topics?
one last. His name is you know
Uh-huh.
who.
You know who it
You know
is.
who? Okay. Oh, Kevin,
Aha, you
the
know
man.
me. Right. Snipe, buddy, please send the PDF thing you right. Appreciate it. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I
it's
said the
already been
PDF.
filled. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
Downloading.
Okay.
Alright, the diary Hans Christian Andersen, that's the author. Right, and now listen to this. Out in the country, close by the side of the road, there stood a country house. You yourself have certainly seen many just like it. In front of it, it was a little flower garden with a painted fence around it. Close by the fence, in the midst of the most beautiful green grass beside a ditch, there grew a little daisy. The sun shone just as warmly and brightly on her as the beautiful flowers inside the garden, and so she grew every hour. At last one morning she was in full bloom, with shining white petals spreading like rays round the little yellow sun in the centre. Daisy didn't think that she was a little despised, for that nobody would notice down there in the grass. Never did. She was a merry little Daisy as she looked up at the warm sun and listened to the lark singing high in the sky, right? Yes, the little Daisy was a little happy and was quite chuffed, as if this were a grandy, windy holiday. It was only a Monday, and all the children were in school while they sat on their benches, learning things. The Daisy sat on a little green stalk and learned from the warm sun and everything. Apparently getting some vitamin D, who knows, God knows, about just how good gold is. The Daisy couldn't talk, but high above her the lark sang lovely and beautifully all the things that the little flower felt. And that made the Daisy very glad. The Daisy looked up at the happy bird who could sing and fly, but she wasn't envious because she couldn't do those fine things too. But I can see and hear the Daisy thought, when the sun shines on me and the forest kisses me. How gifted I am! Yes, you certainly are. Inside the fence stood all the stiff, proud flowers, and the less scent they had, the more they seemed to strut. The peonies blow themselves out and try to make themselves bigger than the roses, but size alone isn't enough at all. The tulips knew that they had the brightest colors and held themselves very straight, so that they could be seen more plainly. None of them noticed the little daisy outside, but the daisy could see them and thought how rich and beautiful they are. I'm sure the pretty lark flies across to them and visits them quite often. Thank God that I stand close enough so that I can see them as well. But just as she thought that keep down came the lark. But he didn't come down to the peonies or the tulips, no, indeed. He flew right down into the grass to the poor Daisy, who was so overjoyed that she didn't know what to think at all. The little bird danced around the daisy and sang, "How soft the grass is here, and what a lovely little flower, with gold in her heart and silver in her dress." And that's beautiful. You see, the yellow heart of the daisy looked like gold, and the little petals around it were silvery white. How happy the little daisy was, no one can convince. Sorry, conceive. Didn't catch that. The bird kissed her with his beak, sang to her, and often then flew up again into the bright blue air. It was at least a quarter of an hour before the daisy could recover from her joy. And she's been euphoric, that's for sure. Then, almost ashamed, yet sincerely happy, she peeped over the flowers in the garden, for they had seen the honor and happiness that had come to her. I would not understand her joy, but the tulips stood out to us as stiff as before, and looked very haughty and very red in the face because they were very annoyed. The fat-headed peonies were jealous. Bah! And it was lucky they couldn't speak. Yeah, that's God forbid. Oh, that Daisy would have received a good scolding. The poor little flower could see they were not in a good humour as well, right? And that made her very sad. Just then a girl with a great sharp shining knife came into the garden, went straight after the tulips, and cut them off, and one after the other. Oh my side, little Daisy. That's dreadful. It's nasty. It's all over the place with them now. Then the girl took the tulips away, and the Daisy was glad that she was only a poor little flower, that nobody would notice other than grass. Yes, she felt very grateful indeed. The sun went down, and the little Daisy folded her leaves and went to sleep, and dreamed all night about the sun and the pretty bird. The next morning, however, when the flower again happily stretched out her white petals like little arms toward the early sun, she recognized the voice of the lark. But this time around, the song was mournful and sad. Yes, the poor lark had good reason to be sad. You see, anyhow, he had been caught and now sat in a cage close by an open window of the house. He sadly sang of the free and happy roaming he used to do, of the young green corn in the fields, of the glorious journeys he used to make on his wings high up through the air. The poor bird was very unhappy, for there he was a prisoner in cage. How the little Daisy wished she could help him, but what could she do? Yes, that was quite difficult to figure out. She quite often forgot how beautiful the world was, how warm the sun shone, and how wonderfully white were on her own petals. She could only try to think of the poor little bird and how powerless she was to help him. Suddenly, two little boys came out of the garden, and one of them was carrying a big sharp knife, like that which the girl had used to cut the tulips. They went straight up to the little Daisy, who could not understand what was going on. Here we can cut a fine piece of turk for the lark. Oh, that's bad. I know where this is heading, said one of the boys. Then he began to cut out of this square patch of grass around the Daisy so that the little flower remained standing in the middle of it. Tear off that flower, said the other boy. And the Daisy trembled with fear. Oh God, to be torn off would mean losing her life, and she wanted so much to live now and go with the turf to the captive lark. "No, leave it there," the other boy said. "Oh, hopefully that's very good. It looks pretty." And then the Daisy, in a little patch of sod, was put into the lark's cage. But the poor bird was complaining about his lost liberty and beating his wings against the wires of his prison. And the little Daisy couldn't speak either as well, couldn't console him, however much she wanted to, and thus the morning passed. "There's no water here," cried the captive lark. "Well, they've all gone about and have forgotten to give me anything to drink. My throat's dry and burning as well, and I feel as if I had fire and ice within me. Yeah, that's quite rare. That's a pity, and then the air is so close. Oh my, I must die. I must leave the warm sunshine and the fresh green and all the splendor that God has created." But when he thrust his beak into the cool turf to refresh himself a little bit, his eye fell upon the Daisy, who was trying so hard to speak to him. He kissed her with his beak and said, "You must also wither in here, poor little flower. They've given me you and your little patch of green grass instead of the whole world that was mine out here. Oh, little bird of your grass shall be a green tree for me, and every one of your white leaves, fragments of flower, are seen. You only tells me again how much I have lost. Now, if I could only help him and comfort him towards the Daisy, she couldn't move a leaf, right? But the scent that streamed forth from her delicate leaves was far stronger than a Daisy ever gave forth before. Right? The lark noticed it and thought, well, in his thirst and pain, he plucked at the blades of grass. He did not touch the flower. The evening came, and still nobody appeared to bring the bird a single drop of water. At last, the lark stretched out his pretty wings and beat the air desperately. His song changed to a mournful peeping. His little head sank down toward the flower, and his little bird's hat broke with want and yearning, and the flower couldn't fold its leaves and sleep. As she had done the night before, she too dropped sorrowful and sick towards the earth. It wasn't until the next morning that the boys came, and when they found the bird was dead, they wept many tears and dug him a neat grave adorned with leaves and flowers. They put him into a pretty red box, for the poor bird was to have a royal funeral, perhaps. While he was alive and singing, they thought they forgot him and let him sit in a cage and suffer, but now that he was dead, he was to have many tears and a royal funeral. But the patch of turf with the little daisy on it was thrown out into the dusty road, and no one thought any more of the flower that had felt the deepest for the little bird. And I tried so hard, indeed, and to console him and help him. Right? And yeah, that is about it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Your voice carried the story clearly. And we'll take feedbacks now. Yes, judges.
Okay, Kevin, you
Walter.
nailed the feeling of saying the story, standing on a stage and conveying a very powerful message, which was the actual motive behind this. And yeah, you are an Oxfordian, your pronunciation was, of course, on point, right? Uh, could have been a bit more clear, but I think it falls back to the argument that it's very relative. So that is what I like to say about this, that you held the integrity of the message that you wanted to convey. Now, what does Kaiba think?
Definitely the story like itself talks about the cruelty of thoughtlessness in humanity, in usual day-to-day life. The way you presented it was good. I would or rather agree with Rolter at one point that narration could have been a bit more clearer, but the impact was definitely good. So overall, I would say you did a good job with the narration in this one.
Thank you, people. Thank you, folks.
Yeah. So
All right.
now, as we are moving to the two finalists, right? And before I announce their names, I would like to thank everybody for giving us your time, for sitting with us for much. I think we are 40 minutes up our time mark, and for sitting with us throughout this entire event. It was actually very heartwarming to see such a participation of our community. And okay, so drum rolls, and Kyber can announce the name of the final two storytellers who are going against each other for the trophy, the crown back home.
Yeah. So right, not the winner yet, but it's time we announce the final two. Standing at the second position that will be heading forward from this point is Amy. So please, claps for
Whoa,
Amy if anyone can on
congrats,
second.
congrats.
And on first position is none other than drum rolls again. Trrr, Mystic Rage.
Yay!
Whoa,
So we
wow.
have our two finalists, Amy and Mystic Rage. Roger, I'll pass on the baton to you from here on.
Thank you, thank you. So now, Amy and Mystic Rage, we will provide you guys the last two stories that you guys have to narrate. We will give you the PDFs. Snape can DM you those. And this time, the only part we will see is how well you held the emotional angle of the poem, which, as these are emotional stories and very much related to this time of the year, which is closer to the new year, and we are very not so far away from the Christmas as well. So yeah, these stories are related to the topic, and let me see how well you can make our audience cry, right? Before the most happy day of their lives. We will give you the story, and we will also give every all the audience a 5 minutes break. And in those 5 minutes, they can prepare the story. They can get to know it as fast as they can, and actually plan their narration. Okay, guys, we will take a 5 minute break from here.
Well, the event for now is going pretty good. So yeah.
So yeah, people are spamming prize in the chat. So yeah, what surprise do we have for the winners? Hey, bye. Rolter, Hyber, anyone?
There will be something. Well, let's not spoil it right now. And instead, when the winner will be announced, at that time, we'll see what
Yeah,
comes next.
Aru definitely not the 7 crore.
Definitely not.
Definitely, definitely not.
If I
Exactly.
have had 7 crore, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. 150
₹150
रुपया.
देगा.
Yeah, I definitely have 150 रुपया. But only 150 रुपया.
So like, तू देगा?
नहीं, वही तो बात है. 150 ही है, वो भी दे दिया तो मेरे पे क्या बचेगा?
Exactly. It's a surprise, guys.
Yes.
Mhm. Anyone wants to share anything from the chat, from the audience?
If anyone would like to come to the stage, you can let us know in the chat, and we can bring you up. Right? Khyber Rolter saying that's not happening.
What are they
It is
saying?
it is a good demand, but not today. Certainly not right
Oh,
now.
Right wants to sing. Right wants to sing.
Right wants to sing. Yeah, sure. We can bring her
Yes,
up for
yes.
that. I am not singing.
Nah, nah, no. She's stuck. You have to, right?
Right, let's go.
Bless
Serious
us with your
was
voice. Yes, yes.
serious is up
Krishna
for
Gana.
all. Joking.
Hey, I can't sing, bro. I can't sing.
All right, 5 minutes are about to be up. 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I
I
am
think
not.
Mystic is in full rage.
Huh?
Mystic so wants to win.
Mystic is different.
Yeah, yeah. He wants to win.
Kyber say Kyber. Well, not today.
Bro, you have to.
Nope.
You really got a nice voice, bro.
Thank you,
Just
but
one line
no.
for the audience at least.
Ah,
Krish
nah,
wala Gana,
nah,
at least.
nah, 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 nah. I'm not. I'm not. I'll not be convinced today. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Writer face reveal. Lallu Langur do this. What? Kuber? Who's Kuber, man? What the hell? Kuber.
Khyber is a person, Khyber is a province.
What?
hmm There's a place in Pakistan.
Khyber province. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you serious? Why do you
Now,
want? Are you singing?
I think Aru wants to sing.
Aru wants to sing. Where did she say that?
Aru?
Oh yeah, she's up for singing. Let's go.
Wait, who's singing?
Guys, I appreciate your requests for me to sing, but today is not my day. So please, I won't be. I'm sorry to disappoint you this way.
If you guys want, like if you'll stay till the end, we'll have a surprise for you. Snape Bhaiya is gonna sing for you. और वो भी क्रिश वाला गाना.
कैसी करिश
कैसे क्रिश का गाना
करिश वाला
होगा?
गाना. स्नेक भाई एक झलकी अभी दिखा दो तो
No, no, not
मजा आ
right
जाए.
now. After
Yeah,
this event.
yeah. भाई this Amy and Mystic both are test.
Okay.
आप
No, no.
Well,
हाँ,
5
We
minutes are up.
already
Let's
gave.
go. 5 minutes are up.
break.
So
Hmm.
भाई
we
मिस्टेक
can start.
करो ना दो ये तो
Arey?
Huh?
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. You both have to compete. You both have done a pretty good job to like come up until the finals. So you both have to do it now. Come on, Amy. All right, let's start with the finals. Lalu Langur, I'll pass the baton from to you from here on.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So I think both Mystic and Amy are ready for the final showdown. So I want to talk to both of them. Mystic, hello, Mystic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you ready with your story?
Yeah, I mean, I'm nervous, but yes, we will try our
Okay.
best and do what we say.
How about Amy? Are you ready?
I'm more nervous than her.
I like the
Okay.
spirit. I like the competitive spirit, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. But I like that. You guys got this,
Yeah.
bro.
Both of
We
you
are,
give your best.
yeah. Everyone who participated is a winner. The losers are the one who are just. I'm kidding.
Losers are the organizers.
No, it's not like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No, no.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mystic, can you? Okay, let's start with Mystic, right? Mystic, what's your
No,
story?
let's
Yes.
start with Eddie first. Every time you guys
Okay.
put me on the first
Let's do
spot,
a
this
toss.
Okay,
Let's
time,
do a
you know
toss,
what?
guys. Let's.
No,
this time
let
let's go with
no.
Emmy.
Let's not go for a toss. Let's not. Let's just vote. We did not do any vote this time.
Vote,
All
okay?
right, yeah, we can
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
We can vote for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Definitely.
Let me
Guys,
see who
please
votes
vote for
really.
Come on.
mistake.
Come on,
You
let's
go
vote
first.
for Emmy, okay? This time Emmy has to be on the first list. Every
Yeah.
time you
Okay.
guys
Okay.
put me on the first spot.
No, you
Come
are
on.
very
Well,
bad.
so
Come on, guys. Emmy in the poll.
ऑडियंस you'll have to vote. ठीक है. आपका नेता कौन बनेगा, मिस्टेक या फिर एमी?
Let's go.
No.
So yeah, let's vote for them. I'll,
No.
No, I
So
will see you later.
oh, that's very close.
God, oh God.
No,
we have around 20 participants, 10, 11 votes,
yes, yes.
12 votes. We need 8 more votes. 7 to go. Very good. I'm not opening anything yet.
I think. Oh,
Amy and Mistake, you have to vote as
that's
well.
very close. That's very close.
12 votes.
Okay.
So 13 again.
Yeah,
We
come
need
on.
we need we need 3 more votes. So like Lalu Langur, Rolter and me won't be voting. So we need 3 more votes. Let's go, guys.
Come on, Emmy, guys. This time it has to be Emmy.
Stop playing with the
Yeah,
emotions of Amy and Mystic.
yeah.
Yeah.
11
Six
votes,
five, 6-5.
12
We'll
votes.
wait.
We'll wait 1 more
One
minute.
more.
The
Amy
timer
is
has
leading.
been the timer has been set for a minute and
What's
it
happening? What's
starts
happening,
now.
guys?
So you have 1 minute left. In 1 minute, you
Okay.
have to tell who goes first. 50 seconds to go.
Amy, get ready with your story. You're
Yes,
winning.
I am because I know that people love mistake the most.
Not at
No.
all.
They are
Not at all. It's
definitely,
you.
Now Mystic
they
is
are
winning.
definitely
Now
going to
Mystic is
listen.
winning.
No,
Bro,
no,
people
no.
are crazy.
Somebody just
It's
wrote
six
in the
six
chat,
is
I don't like Mystic. So I don't think so.
so it's a draw, guys.
All right, everyone,
It's a
20
draw.
seconds to go.
We still have a few more votes left.
Come on.
Okay. Now Mystic is in lead.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, final votings, and it's 7-7. Wow.
No, it's Mystic now. It's Mystic.
Seriously, guys, 7-7.
This
No,
is
it's
not
Mystic.
bad.
Mystic.
Mystic won. Mystic won with 8
Oh, did
votes.
I want
All
Alex
right.
to be here now.
Yes, Mystic won with 8 votes, 53%. Let's go, Mystic, you're first.
Okay, Mystic, what's your
Yes.
story?
Damn. I always won for the wrong reasons.
Yes, now
Okay.
you will want for the right reason too. All the best.
Okay, let's start then.
Can you tell me the name of the story real quick?
Yeah, The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen.
Okay, my favorite story already. Let's see.
Okay. I must appreciate the patience of audience for hanging around till this time. So, shall I start, Rolto?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, in the beginning, for all my lovely audience, I just want to say that there's a very classic quote that not all stories are meant to be lived, some are meant to be felt. And so, here's Little Match Girl, feel it all to your heart. Okay, Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen. Most terribly cold it was. It snowed and was nearly quite dark and evening, the last evening of the year. In this cold and darkness there went along the street a poor little girl, bareheaded and with naked feet. She when she left home she had slippers on. Is it true? But what was the good of that? They were very large slippers which her mother had hitherto worn. So large were they, and the poor little thing lost them, and she scuffled across the street because of two carriages that rolled by dreadfully fast. One slipper was nowhere to be found, the other one had been laid hold by an urchin, and off he ran with it. He thought it would do capitally for a cradle when he some day or other should have children himself. So the little maiden walked on with her tiny naked feet that were quite red and blue from the cold. She carried a quantity of matches in an old apron, and she held a bundle of them in her hand. Nobody had bought anything of her the whole livelong day. No one had given her a single farthing. She crept along trembling with the cold and hunger, a very picture of sorrow, the poor little thing. The flakes of snow covered her long hair, which fell in beautiful curls around her neck. But of that, of course, she never once now thought. From all the windows the candles were gleaming at it and smelled so deliciously of roast goose, for you know it was New Year's Eve. Yes, of that she thought. In a corner formed by two houses, of which one advanced more than another, she seated herself down and cowered together. Her little feet she had drawn close up to her, but she grew colder and colder, and to go home she did not venture, for she had not sold any matches and could not bring a farthing of money. From her father she would certainly get blows, and at home it was cold too, for above her she only had the roof through which the wind whistled, even though the largest cracks were stopped up with straw and rakes. Stopped with straw and rags. Her little hands were almost numbed with cold. Oh, a match might afford her a world of comfort if she only dared to take a single one out of the bundle, drawn it against the wall, and warm her finger by it. She drew one out. Risht! How it blazed, how it burned! It was warm, bright, flame like a candle. As she held her hands over it, it was a wonderful light. It seemed really to the little maiden as though she was sitting before a large iron stove with burnished brass feet, a brass ornament at the top. The fire burned with such blessed influence. It warmed so delightfully. The little girl had already stretched out her feet to warm them too, but the small flame went out. The stove vanished. She had only the remains of the burnt out match in her hand. She rubbed another against the wall. It burned brightly, and where the light fell on the wall, their wall became transparent like a veil, so that she could see into the room. On the table was a spread a snow white tablecloth. Upon it was a splendid proclean service, and the rose course was steaming famously with its stuffing of apple and dried plums. And what was still more capital to behold was the goose hopped from the dish, reeled about on the floor with knife and fork in its breast till it came up to the poor little girl. Then the match went out, and nothing but thick, cold, damp wall was left behind. She lighted another match. Now there she was sitting under the most magnificent Christmas tree. It was still larger and more decorated than the one which she had seen through the glass door in the rich merchant's house. Thousands of lights were burning on the green branches, and gaily colored pictures, such as she had seen in the shop windows, looked down upon her. The little maiden stretched out her hands towards them when the match went out. The lights of the Christmas tree rose higher and higher. She saw them now as stars in heaven. One fell down and formed a long trail of fire. Someone is just dead, said the little girl, for her old grandmother, the only person who had loved her and who was now no more, had told her that when a star falls, a soul ascends to God. She drew another match against the wall. It was again light, and in the lustre there stood the old grandmother, so bright and radiant, so mild, and with such an expression of love. Grandmother, grandmother, cried the little one, oh, take me with you. You go away when the match burns out. You vanish like warm stove, like the delicious rose goose, and like the magnificent Christmas tree. And she rubbed the whole bundle of matches quickly against the wall, for she wanted to be quite sure of keeping her grandmother near her. And the matches gave such a brilliant light that it was brighter than at noonday. Never formerly had her grandmother been so beautiful and tall. She took the little maiden on her arm, and both flew in the brightness and in joy so high, so very high, and then above was neither cold, nor hunger, nor anxiety. They were with God. But in the corner at the cold hour of dawn sat the poor girl, with rosy cheeks and with a smiling mouth, leaning against the wall, frozen to death on the last evening of the older year. Still and stark sat the child there with her matches, of which one bundle had been burnt. She wanted to warm herself, people said. No one had the slightest suspicion of what beautiful things she had seen. No one even dreamed of the splendor in which, with her grandmother, she had entered on the joys of New Year, on the joys of New Year. And that was The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen. Thank you so much.
Anuj.
Wow. Wow, Mystic. You didn't rush the stories, you trusted it, and that confidence really showed. Wow, that was something. Let's see what judges have to say about this. Yes, Rolto.
Bro, this is my favorite story. And as you
Mm-hmm.
know, my guy said that it felt like
Mm-hmm.
it was very nostalgic. It felt like my grandmother telling me a very emotional story, right? In
Exactly.
in that cozy
Mm-hmm.
feeling, right? I think Mystic does has that vibe. And there are some major up points
Yeah.
as it is exactly the vibe we are headed
Mm.
towards. Maybe you have
Are
quite
you
the
saying she has?
conversation.
Yes.
Are you saying she has a grandmother vibe?
No,
Yeah, I was just saying, I used to take it for granted.
Oh.
no. I'm talking about the love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding, just kidding. Yeah.
Uh, well, to me, like this is a story, honestly, which has been with me from since my childhood because that is the first time I heard about this story. It is a heartbreaking commentary on poverty, social indifference, and the hope and faith of good. So, this story, the way you narrated it, I felt every part of it, me living personally in it. So, definitely great job over there. Um, there were some punctuation mistakes. There were small gaps in between the pronunciations or like in between the sentences. But other than that, great work. I loved it.
Okay, I think it's about right time to move to the next participant. Amy, are you there? Are
Yes.
you ready?
Yes.
You have
Amy, are
won
you
the
ready?
Island of Competition.
Yep, I am.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's start.
Yes, you
Thank
may.
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, by Langston Hughes. She was a large woman with a large purse that had everything in it but hammer and nails. It had a long strap, and she carried it slung across her shoulder. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and she was walking alone when a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. The strap broke with the single tug the boy gave it from behind. But the boy's weight and the woman's purse combined caused him to lose his balance. So instead of taking off full blast as he had hoped, the boy fell on his back on the sidewalk, and his lungs flew up and his legs flew up. The large woman simply turned around and kicked him right square in his blue jeans sitter. Then she reached down, picked the boy up by his shirt front and shook him till his teeth rattled. After that the woman said, "Pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here." She still held him, but she bent down enough to permit him to stop and pick up her purse. Then she said, "Now ain't you ashamed of yourself?" Firmly gripped by his shirt front, the boy said, "Yes, ma'am." The woman said, "What did you want to do it for?" The boy said, "I didn't aim to." She said, "You a lie." By the time two or three people passed, stopped, turned to look, and some stood watching. "If I turn you loose, will you run?" asked the woman. "Yes, ma'am," said the boy. "Then I won't turn you loose," said the woman. She didn't release him. "I'm very sorry, lady. I'm very sorry," whispered the boy. And your face is dirty. I got a great mind to wash your face for you. Ain't you got nobody home to tell you to wash your face?" "No, ma'am," said the boy. "Then it will get washed this evening," said the large woman, starting up the street, dragging the frightened boy behind her. He looked as if he were 14 or 15, frail and willow wild in his tennis shoes and blue jeans. The woman said, "You ought to be my son. I would teach you right from wrong. Least I can do right now is to wash your face. Are you hungry?" "No, ma'am," said the boy being dragged. I just want you to I just want you to turn me loose." "Was I bothering you when I turned that corner?" asked the woman. "No, ma'am. But you put yourself in contact with me," said the woman. "If you think that contact is not going to last a while, you got another thought coming. When I get through with you, sir, you are going to remember Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones." Sweat popped out on the boy's face and he began to struggle. Mrs. Jones stopped, jerked him around in front of her, and put a half Nelson around his neck, and continued to drag him up the street. When she got to her door, she dragged the boy inside, down a hall, and into a large kitchenette furnished room at the rear of the house. She switched on the light and left the door open. The boy could hear other roomers laughing and talking in the large house. Some of their doors were open too, so he knew he and the woman were not alone. The woman still had him by the neck in the middle of her room. She said, "What is your name?" "Roger," answered the boy. "Then, Roger, you go to the sink and wash your face," said the woman. Whereupon she turned him loose at last. Roger looked at the door, looked at the woman, looked at the door, and went to the sink. "Let the water run until it gets warm," she said. "Here's a clean towel." You gonna take me to jail? Asked the boy, bending over the sink. Not with that face. I would not take you nowhere, said the woman. Here I am trying to get home to cook a bite to eat, and you snatched my pocketbook. Maybe you ain't been to your supper either. Late as it be, have you? There nobody home. There is nobody home at my house, said the boy. Then we'll eat, said the woman. I believe you are hungry or been hungry to try to snatch my pocketbook. I wanted a pair of blue suede shoes, said the boy. Well, you didn't have to snatch my pocketbook to get some suede shoes, said Mrs. Leila Bates Washington Jones. You could have asked me, ma'am. The water dripped from his face. The boy looked at her. There was a long pause, a very long pause. After he had dried his face and not knowing what else to do, dried it again. The boy turned around, wondering what's next. The door was open. He could make a dash from it down the hall. He could run, 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 run. The woman was sitting on the day bed. After a while, she said, I were young once, and I wanted things I could not get. There was another long pause. The boy's mouth opened. Then he frowned, but not knowing he frowned. The woman said, mm-hmm. You thought I was going to say, but didn't you? You thought I was going to say, but I didn't snatch people's pocketbook. Well, I wasn't going to say that. Pause. Silence. I have done things too, which I would not tell you, son. Neither tell God, if you didn't already knew. No. So you sit down while I fix us something to eat. You might run that comb through your hair so you will look presentable. Well, that's from my side. Thank you.
Wow, your narration was like beautifully balanced. Amy, that was really good.
Oh, thank
Let's
you.
see what judges have to say about that.
Walter.
Okay, yeah, Amy. So you were almost perfect and you did great. You had the right amount of passion and you did not make any mistake. You showed this unconditional love in the woman character, Mrs. Jones, through your voice, through your narration, and that was a very pleasant storytelling as well. I won't lie. Let's go with Kyber now.
Again, this is another story that lives with me from a long time. And especially like how the empathy and the trust that lady showed to Roger is like speechless, teaching him the lesson about dignity and kindness that punishment never could. So again, the story presents a very specific emotion, and I think you did a good job over there. Speech, I would say, was a little up and down, but I think you still managed to do a quite decent job. So overall, I would say I really enjoyed your read. It was really
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
All right, now please give us 2 minutes so we can round up the scores, and then Lallu Bhai will get back to you with some announcements. Lallu Bhai and Snape Bhai.
Okay.
Yes,
While we are
guys, we have the
Mhm.
yes, Rolto.
while we are fumbling with the scores, I would like to hear something from both of you, Mystic and Amy. What did you guys think about each other's narration or each other's performance?
Like when I first listened to Mystic, it was straight. Like even before listening to her, I was very pretty clear that she will make till final round and she will definitely become the winner.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that we will reveal at the end. What about Mystic? What did you think about Amy's narration?
Well, in the beginning, I think even after both of us, there were so many amazing people. There was one girl, she did exceptionally well with the narration and everything. So, Amy, I mean, I love the consistency of Amy. Throughout all the rounds, Amy were consistent with the way she narrated and everything. So, every time I see this little girl in the VC, she's always silent, but she surprised me today with the conviction and everything. So, more than the winning and losing, it's like today she came over here and she presented herself. So it's like a win for her. So yes, I'm very happy for her to be opening like this.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Mistake.
I want, yeah, more power to you.
And yeah, in the words of Lalu Langur, the participants, the audience are all winners. The only losers are the organizers. So yeah. And yeah, I am
Yes.
more than grateful for this community. This is something we have created this year, and we are now quite improving the numbers, and we have great company. We have great people with us, right? Very punctual people as well, like Skelva. And
Um, that was
Yes, Kelvin. Kelvin, do you have to say something?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I asked to come up because after Ulte said, as organizers, we are the losers. I think he shouldn't be saying that. You guys are doing an amazing job. It's all on me. So I would like to say I'm really, really sorry. Um, I was stupid enough to go to sleep while thinking I'll wake up myself without an alarm, without
oh
opening up the
wow.
volume of. So yeah, it was also on D&D, so I didn't get any of your calls. These guys called me like a gazillion times, but yeah, so yeah, it's not on any of these guys. You guys are doing an amazing job as always. So it's on me. I'm sorry, and yeah, I'll take care next time.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, again, such a great community that we have grown throughout the past 6 months, I guess. We have great people. Everyone here is great, very career, very growth oriented person, and we have been able to, achieve our dream of actually creating a community which revolves around books and something somewhat related to that. So yeah, but the main person who started all this with a simple idea, with a single idea, is Mr. Snape, and I think he should get the opportunity to say something right here, right now. Snape.
Snip, hi.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you for this stage. The final page of Winter Tale has been turned. First, I want to say a massive thank you to our participants. Getting up on the stage with just your voice and your imagination is not easy. You made us laugh, you made us think, and you truly brought the heat to this good winter day. To our audience, thank you for staying with us, for listening, and respecting to storytellers. An event like this is nothing without people to listen. And of course, a huge shout out to our host and judges for keeping everything running smoothly behind the scenes. But there can only be one queen of winter. This program had the hook, the pacing, and the emotional impact that capture us all. It is our honor to present the Winter Tales winner certificate to Mystic Rage. Congratulations, Mystic Rage. But wait, there is one more thing. We don't want you to walk away with just a digital certificate. We want to gift you a book as a token of participation. The specific book hasn't been finalized yet. We want it to be special, so stay tuned. We will notify you and the community about the title very soon. Thank you all for making this event a success. See you
Well,
in the next chapter.
well, I want to recommend something. You can give Mystic the book she wants.
Definitely. Like she can
Yeah,
ask for one. Yeah.
Definitely.
yeah.
I feel like it should be a gesture of what Snape Bhaiya thinks about Mystic and what he
Mm.
wants to give to
Yeah,
her,
yeah. That's why.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why. That's the thing I thought.
I also have a book in my mind.
We will notify it on the server later,
Okay, for sure.
I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, like
So congratulations, Mistake. How do you
congratulations.
feel?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for all of your unconditional love, support. And for me, Snape Bhaiya, utmost gratitude for you because you are the reason for which you bring this kind of competition and you give a platform for us. Because I don't know if this would have not been possible, I would have really gotten out of my comfort zone and thought about doing something after my school and college years. So thank you so much for giving us this platform. And I request all of the people who join the server to participate more and more. Like, you will be able to explore yourself in the way you might have never. So more than the competition, this is a self exploration of what you truly are of inside and your hidden capabilities. So everybody give it a try from our next whatever events we are going to organize. And again, as per Lallu Langur, I would have loved you to have as a contestant because I know you are an amazing narrator as well. So next time for sure. But amazing hosting, Rolter, Khaber, Skelver, as always. You guys, your creativity is always at par trying to create new events. All the lovely audience, I have nothing to say but really, really grateful. And few more events to go. So cheers for amazing such events. And Emmy, you are also equal winner to this because you have really put yourself out there by getting out of your comfort zone. So this belongs to you as well equally. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, I'm really amazed by Amy, by the way.
Yes,
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. She's always the
definitely.
silent girl, but she did a great job.
Yes, Amy was a surprise packet today. Like I may would have like thought of Mystic, but Amy definitely was like the underdog in today's event. So definitely great job, Amy. Other than that, it was a great event. Everybody did their best, and I'm glad I was able to hear everyone's best work out here. So yeah, this was a heck of a night. So I mean, it's night for me. So yeah, this definitely was a heck of a night. So I hope you guys enjoyed that too. And finally, Lalu bhai, please continue.
Thank you, Kaiba. So, yeah, everyone. So, today we didn't listen for loudness, we listened for control, for clarity, for stories that trusted the listeners. These storytellers didn't perform, they narrated, and that's harder. Thank you to our judges. Thank you for listening so deeply. To every storyteller, your voice mattered tonight. To the audience, our beloved audience, thank you for choosing silence over the noise. This was Winter Tales by Echoes of Book. Until the next story, stay warm and keep telling. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye. It was great having you all.
Bye
And
bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.
a Merry
Have a great
Christmas.
evening, everyone.
A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the EOB Mods team. Hope you guys have a great, great year ahead where you actually step out of your comfort zone and participate in the next event. Okay. See ya,
Yes.
people.
But
Yeah.
chat is saying something. We promised something that Snake Bhaiya is gonna sing for us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Arey,
That's good.
no, no, no.
Yeah,
I'm in office, bro.
it's okay. It's
Ah,
okay. It's just
shit.
No, no, no.
one
Not
song,
right.
the Krish Wala song.
The Krish वाला
नहीं नहीं I'm in office. अगर
sleepy
घर पे
zone.
होता तो जरूर करता. Sure. Okay. I think we have to wrap up the session. Event,
Yes.
sorry. Okay.
Okay, people.
See you guys later. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you
Bye bye,
everyone for
everyone.
joining.
Have a
Have a
great
great
evening.
day.